Mob enforcer Michael Sullivan finds his world torn apart when his son is witness to a gangland slaying. With his family in tatters, Michael and his son hit the road in search of vengeance in a journey that will test the bonds between them. Sam Mendes' multi-layered generational saga transformed Tom Hanks into an unlikely anti-hero and gave Paul Newman a poignant farewell performance. Shot by one of the great cinematographers, Road to Perdition is a poetic tale of violence and loyalty in Depression-era America. My name is Luke, and the two fellas with me who rule this town as God rules the earth are Matt.
You're a big baby who doesn't know his thumb from his dick.
And Westy.
Let's drink him to God. Let's hope he gets to heaven at least an hour before the devil finds out he's dead.
All the right movies are on the road to perdition, and there's only one guarantee. None of us will see heaven. Hi everyone, welcome to All the Right Movies, a podcast on classic and hit films that's all so fucking hysterical.
It sure is.
Frequently.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Matter of taste, I suppose.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
On the show, we tell the story of Hollywood one film at a time, and this week we're travelling down a rain-soaked road through Depression-era America as we uncover the incredible behind-the-scenes story of Sam Mendes' haunting masterpiece.
Yes.
Ooh, huge.
Big one.
Before we step into the darkness of 1931, though, here's some information about becoming an ATRM patron.
Lovely.
What you're listening to now is ATRM Classic. That's our flagship podcast. Only the most recent 25 of these episodes are available to listen to for free. The rest are only available to our patrons.
Yes.
Now, at present, there are over 90 classic podcasts in our archive, and you can listen to them if you sign up on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you're fans of Tom Hanks, we talked about Toy Story, Apollo 13. No Joe versus the Volcano just yet, but we're getting up to that one, I'm sure.
Yeah, we've got to wait to get the absolute classics in there.
Of course, Man with One Red Shoe straight after it.
Yes, surely. Bachelor party.
Yeah, brilliant. You can also sign up on YouTube and Patreon, where you can listen to our classic archive and all of the podcasts that we've created exclusively for our patrons. That's currently over 80 episodes, which includes new monthly episodes of The Watch List, our movie review show, and Double Feature, where we talk about films that we may not necessarily get to straight away on this classic show.
Mm-hmm. Very nicely put.
Yeah.
Very subtle.
Yeah.
On there, we've talked about things like Big, The Burbs, Philadelphia, and many more. A lot on offer, so sign up on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or Patreon, where you can also become part of our movie community and ask us questions for the films on the show. But any support you can give will be much appreciated.
Yeah, loads to check out.
Thank you very much, everyone. And now, it's back to 1931, and this was your pick, Westy. Need I say any more? A film that you've raved about since it came out. It was only a matter of time.
It was only a matter of time, yeah. It's been one that I've been waiting to put up, one I've been really, really excited to talk about, and one that really changed the landscape for me in cinema in general, in visuals in general, in inspiration in general.
Love it.
I'd seen other films of this ilk. I'd seen The Godfather. I'd seen what you would deem to be classics, Taxi Driver up at this point. But this, for me, just seemed to just tick all of the right boxes, technically, visually. I mean, I've watched it in black and white, obviously. I don't know if you guys have, but I would check that out. And I've frequently just paused it to make notes, as I do on any film. Mm-hmm. And every time I've looked up, I've been like, what a shot that is. And no matter when I've paused it, literally like frame for frame.
Look at that.
It's just outrageously good.
Yeah.
I think it's Conrad Hall's absolute magnum opus. And to me, I mean, I don't know whether I've got more admiration for this than I do have love. Okay. I don't know if it's more of a technical thing.
Technically, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Now we'll dive into it. Is it really as good as I think it is, or was it just the impression it made on me in 2002? Mm-hmm. And, you know, I've led from this and turned into a photographer because of this. This is why I bought a camera. It's why I started taking pictures. It's why I do what I do, what I've done for the last 17 years. So it really, really made an impact on me. But it's not just the cinematography. I think the editing's fantastic. I think the score's fantastic. I think the lead performances are fantastic. And I think there's a lot to get into. Is it all strong all the way through? I don't know. Let's have a chat about it. Let's see where it peaks and troughs.
Let's do it, yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Well, I pushed against this film when it came out. Unlike you, Westy. I was put off by what I perceived was just what looked like a miserable film. The darkness of the film.
Yeah, it's kind of what attracted me, though.
I know.
That's why we're so close. Opposites attract, don't they?
The opposites attract, yeah. That poster, that just didn't appeal to me. Shadows and rain, Perdition, it just looked miserable.
Yeah, fair enough.
And it is.
Yeah, of course it is. It's not lying to you.
It's not lying. No. So I didn't watch it for a number of years. And I was surprised when I did get around to it that it really isn't as bleak as I anticipated.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
But there is a lightness of touch that Mendes brings to the material, which I think is crucial to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, what can you say about that cast? The cinematography, the set and costume design are amazing.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the last film for Conrad Hall, the last live-action film for Paul Newman. I mean, he appeared in 1 billion animated films after this.
He was in Cars, wasn't he, I think?
Cars 3, did some documentaries. But what a way to go out for both of them.
Yeah.
Paul Newman, the man was 77. He's still commanding the screen like the legend that he always was.
Effortlessly as well, I think.
Incredible here. An important film in a number of ways. Conrad Hall, Paul Newman, Tom Hanks turning bad guy, Sam Mendes' sophomore effort, just loads going on here. So, yes, it's about time.
Definitely.
What about you, Matt?
It's a film I'm almost nostalgic for because I don't want to be that guy, but I just don't think this is the kind of film that gets made anymore.
All right, Grandad.
Yeah, I know. I'm yelling at clouds. Gonna lie down in a minute, don't worry. But, you know, this is something that's just very mature. It's very somber. It's definitely aimed at adults. But all the same, it's got a huge box office saw attached, and it was released to pretty decent financial success. And I'm just saying, does that happen with something like this anymore? I don't know. I just feel like this would be dumped straight on the streaming these days. That's where these kind of prestige pictures go. So it does feel like a bit of a relic in that sense. And I don't actually watch it that often, but that's got nothing to do with the quality of it. It's because it's such like a delicate film. Personally, I think you could overwatch this and spoil it. It's, you know, there's something quite rich about it. I want to savor it and kind of only have it on special occasions, like a really good cheese. So, yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah, it's like a
You know
pencil
what I mean,
sketch, isn't it? You're scared of rubbing it out.
Yeah.
I
It's
know
got
what
that kind
you
of
mean.
vibe to it. Yeah. But no, it's a great film, and I'm just so glad it exists.
Yes, very much. I think we all are. We all are. Road to Perdition was written by David Self, based on the graphic novel of the same name. Directed by Sam Mendes and produced by Dean and Richard D. Zanuck for the Zanuck Company and distributed by DreamWorks Pictures into theatres on the 12th of July 2002. Shot mainly on location and sets in and around the Chicago area, it stars Tom Hanks as Michael Sullivan, Tyler Hoechlin as Michael Sullivan. No, the other one.
Some relation.
Paul Newman is John Rooney, and there's a superb supporting cast including Jude Law, Daniel Craig, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and Stanley Tucci.
Yes.
Let's get on the road with Michael Sullivan. Some say he was a decent man. Some say there was no good in him at all. But we're going to spend 6 weeks with him in the winter of 1931. This is our story.
The beginning.
We're catapulted into 1930s America in the opening titles as Michael Jr. cycles home through the bustling streets and punishing winter. We'll be meeting his real and adopted family soon. But first, over to you, Matt, with that opening.
Yeah, I mean, this opening, the title's so evocative with that music behind it. And you can see already just how rich this is in terms of the production design, the costumes, the cars. You just sit and you think, yeah, they've made this one for grown-ups, haven't they? You know, this is its own thing. And it's going to take its time. And it does take its time, but even so, it's still one of the fastest paced scenes in the film, the way that it shows Michael Jr. making his way home. So I think it just tells you, okay, just settle in. This is the pace we're going at. And I think it just sums up the idea that back in those days, you did become an adult very, very quickly because Michael Jr., he is a child, but he's earning money for the household. He's smoking a pipe. And that just has that wonderful contrast when he gets home and all of a sudden wiped out by a snowball from Peter, who's hiding behind a tree. And then it's just childish fun and games, which it should be for him at that age.
Nice contrast.
Yeah.
It is. And it's the quiet tragedy of the film that everything about his childhood is going to be quickly and brutally stripped away from him. And then it just ends, you know, his father's back home, this man, he's been setting up in that opening voiceover.
He approaches him with absolute caution and fear in that bedroom. Tell him that dinner's ready.
Yeah.
So I'll go from there, and then we're into this great setup where we're introduced to the cover image of the Roonies. This isn't actually who they are. I think it's just a very nice cover up, very nice guys. And Newman here is fantastic. Yeah. There's some wonderful moments where I don't want to say them dice and then they're playing with it. You just see Newman, he's just very playful, and he's just got them both there. And it's just them shots of Daniel Craig smoking in that room. The way he's introduced just out of focus and hold it.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. And then it goes back to Michael's point of view, and that lighting is just incredible. And then it goes back again out of focus, and then it cuts into focus. So you're kind of thinking this guy's unhinged, he's unstable. The techniques used in this by Mendes are just second to none, especially which shots he uses for the edit and which he doesn't. And the thing I love about this is you can see the Conrad holes give him a lot to play with. And everything he's got in that toolbox looks fucking amazing. He's just doesn't have a clue which shots to use, and then really has to get his head around it because everything could have looked amazing. I mean, I've heard an interview with Mendes. I've heard the commentary, and he said so the opening of the film was meant to just be putting together that Tommy gun from the top point of view from the end. Great. He said it was just too dark. It's like how you just open it with just him putting together a Tommy gun, and then it just cuts it's like it's not going to work. But it would have been fantastic. It would have just been an amazing opening, but it just doesn't work. There's too much here to play with. And then we'll go to, oh, look, it's Paul Newman. And then he has to give a Paul Newman performance. And he does the speeches at the wake. And it's just, if anyone could have spoke at my wake, it would be Paul Newman in this character. Because it's just, it has such eloquence. It had such poetry. It had such depth. The lines are just absolutely fantastic. When he says, you know, I'm a dear and trusted friend, you fucking believe him.
Yeah,
but he's full of shit at the same time. And his, you know, his words, I'll wager, have more poetry than mine. That in itself,
that's poetic.
It's beautifully poetic and such an uplift for someone who's going to speak after you. But then he does the come over here and shows him that he's in charge. And it's just a great introduction to Mike and his role, because when Finn starts going over and over and over, you can see Hank's just looking over. He looks over at Daniel Craig's character and he looks back. He's like, right, and he has to go in and he cuts in and absolutely just takes control of the situation. It's very, very subtly done, but incredibly effective filmmaking.
Yeah, that's the thing. It keeps you at arm's length, doesn't it? It's very subtly done, so you don't really know what the setup is with the dynamic quite yet.
No, not at all.
So following those speeches, Finn McGovern is ejected from his own brother's wake. A terrible state of affairs, but his behaviour just hints at the insidious nature of this family and that something's just not as it seems underneath.
Yeah.
And in a drunken stupor outside, Finn threatens that he's going to deal with Connor after he's buried his brother. So I suppose in a way, Connor's hand has been forced. We find out later on.
Yeah.
And Connor's living in the shadow of his father's power and his relationship with Michael. He wants to be as powerful as his dad. He wants that relationship that his dad has with Michael. And that's beautifully reinforced when we go back inside. Firstly, there's a wonderful jig being danced that harks back to the old country. Is this really awake?
Yeah.
But it is in more ways than one with this two-way piano piece that Michael and John share. Simple lines intertwining harmoniously. There's a complete simpatico between Michael and John. A mournful piece, reflective of the film's themes. I'm pretty sure it's called Lick My Lap Pump.
Very
quite
good.
pretty.
Very good. You couldn't get that out fast enough.
Very good. Yeah.
It's quite pretty.
But the piano duet in the scene, which is just called Perdition, was actually written by legendary composer John Williams, because he came on board as a special guest because he has deep ties with Zanuck, Hanks and Spielberg.
Yes.
Nice.
So it's not called Lick My Lap Pump.
I don't
Sadly
think
not.
so. No. But
Shame.
yeah.
Unless that bit was in commas, maybe, at the end.
Yeah.
Perdition.
Lick My Love
Lick
Pump.
my love pump.
Yeah, that works.
Very good.
There it is.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it on the screen as well. And Hanks and Newman spent weeks practicing the piece together to make their on-screen dynamic reflected in their telepathic piano playing. I mean, I just love the way the camera just sits on them and goes, you want to see them playing it? There you go. And just
There it
tilts
is.
down. It's fantastic, yeah.
It really comes across in that scene that they are playing it. And Connor can only watch on. Behind that painted smile, he's bubbling under with jealousy and rage.
Oh, he's furious.
Yeah.
But of course, it's also fucking hysterical. A great line.
It is.
A
When
great
he
line.
comes down into that light as well, and that light just hits his face. It's just incredibly well done.
It's excellent. Very reminiscent of the wedding scene in The Deer Hunter, for example, or Godfather.
Yeah,
How
yeah,
families coming together
Yeah,
with loads
but
of pockets of dialogue and dynamism and friendships going on. I really love it.
It's great, yeah. And the fact that it's a wake instead of a celebration, really.
Yes.
It's more of a, reflective time. And they've learned that together on that piano, thinking we're going to get more chance to play this than we are something
There's
happy.
going to be a lot of dead bodies, yeah.
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 So a wonderful setup of the father-son dynamics at play in the film in the opening scenes.
Yeah, fantastic.
Taking his father's request, Connor and Michael pay a visit to Finn McGovern, but they didn't anticipate a third wheel coming along for the ride, did they, Westy?
They really didn't, no. And I think this whole sequence is fantastic. The shots in the back of the car aren't cheesy or overdone when you just find him underneath that case and he lifts it up and the light comes in just enough to see who it is. It's not played out too much. There's his point of view from the back of the car, which I think, just really reflects the scene, reflects your point of view. You're going to see all of this through Michael's vision. You're going to see it from his experiences. You're going to experience it as he does. You're going to kind of see what his dad does, but still don't know exactly what his dad does. So many great shots in this. And it's the first time that we get the water theme that runs all the way through this, which is synonymous with death. And you've got the rain coming out. You've obviously got the ice on the body. We've got the ocean sounds at the start, which then played again at the end. So much rain in this, it just basically means, death's coming. And that's how they do it, and that's how they highlight it. And I think that's absolutely fantastic because you don't quite know that yet. And you get that lovely shot where he's looking through, and there's that back and forth between Connor. Even though this is all shot wide, Daniel Craig's fantastic here. He's just electric in the background. He's just so volatile. You don't know what he's going to do or when he's going to spin or when he's going to turn. And the fact that he says, I'm sorry, your brother was such a fucking liar. And he's pushing the buttons. What did you do that for? Why did it have to go that far?
Yeah.
From Michael Jr.'s point of view, when his dad stands in that frame and he's just, that Sergio Leone shot, and his legs are there and he's seeing through that. You don't really get the chance to see it until that trigger is pulled. And I absolutely love that shot. That could have been cheese on toast with that being slow motion, but it's the sound design in that. It's so jarring what you're listening to. And you're in shock. I think it's just really, really well played out. It's a fantastic stunt. It looks great. All the movement's perfect. There's not too much blood, so it's shocking. It's from a child's point of view.
Yeah.
But when Finn hits that ground and that Tommy gun goes off, I remember in the cinema thinking, that is loud. Because that's what the kid's going to hear. And if he doesn't cover his ears at that point, reflecting on that sound design, you would think that's a mistake. That's been mixed too loud, but you have to get his reaction. It's like the opposite of Nolan dialogue. It's mixed a little bit too heavy. And then he runs out. And I always think of Forrest Gump, though, when he comes out of the door and he runs towards the gate. It's a really Forrest Gump run.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And with the Tommy gun. It's like...
disturbing.
Yeah, exactly. So that then hits home. But when he realizes that it's Michael Jr. and he knows that that's it, we don't know what's going to happen. Connor's so volatile, it's not going to work. He doesn't really try to comfort his son at all. You don't speak a word of this. It's not like picking him up and trying to ignore him from the situation. He just does not know how to deal with it. But the back and forth between Hanks and Craig here is absolutely wonderful. You can just see there's no trust between them. There's no love between them. No. They actually fucking hate each other. And when, because John's actually said, no, take Mike with you. And he's like, oh, for fuck's sake, you've got to take him. It's, oh, God, right, because you're not going to be able to do it properly. And that's the point here. Connor's got the upper hand on him. He's better than Mike now because Mike's made a mistake with that kid there and he is loving it. There's so much glee on this. And when his walk away in that little wave just reminds me of Heath Ledger and the Joker. That little moment, and I think he's just really hamming it up, and it's perfectly done. Nice night for a stroll. I've won, you've lost. Let's see what happens. It's a brilliant, brilliant setup for a brilliant scene.
Yeah, he slimes his way out of that scene. He's great.
Yeah,
I think some perspective needed as well because this is Daniel Craig before he was Daniel Craig, before he was Bond, before he was in Layer Cake. Yeah, he was a relative nobody. Yeah. So he puts in quite a performance. Oh, he's amazing.
Yeah.
So after the hit, the rot sets in both families, I suppose. We think that Connor is slippery as an eel, and that's confirmed during the next scene where he gives Michael a reminder to give to Tony Calvino, who's light again on his payment. Wonderful scene. The music pulses with menace intermittently, just hinting at the danger in the background, taking the jeopardy just up a notch.
Yeah.
And there's a really understated one shot as they walk through that jazz club. The lighting's wonderful, deep, joyous blues in the club, and then a dangerous red in the back where all manner of unspeakable acts take place.
Yes, exactly.
Lovely, lovely. And then we're in Calvino's office. Mike hands him the letter, and his whole cocky demeanour changes.
Yeah.
It's a really good silent performance from Doug Spinoza. I haven't seen him in anything else.
No.
He's great. He doesn't even have a wiki page. That's how off the radar he is.
Wow.
Completely baffled at what he's reading on that note, and the dread just seeps into his body, and you can see that on screen. It's great.
Yeah, it's the act he plays when Mike walks in. He's like,
hey, oh, what am I like again?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Great.
He is great.
But Michael can see danger a mile off, and he can see that gun poorly concealed under the magazine as well.
Yeah.
And Calvino and his goon wiped out ruthlessly, without hesitation. If we didn't know the menace that Michael packs, or we kind of were unsure about it because it's Tom Hanks, we know now.
Yes.
But there's always that sense of reluctancy with Michael and his work, particularly now that the cat is out of the bag with his son.
Mm-hmm.
He's bearing that shame and that weight.
Yeah.
But without it being explicit, I think you can tell that he feels bad for taking the goon out, just on account of their nice little back and forth interaction on the way to Calvino's office. Mm-hmm. That's great. So on the surface level, it's a great scene, technically excellent, great storytelling as well, with very, very little dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
And then after this, you get the whole turning point of the entire film, which is obviously the killing of Annie and Peter. And I will say one flaw in the film is that Jennifer Jason Leigh is just so underused in this.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
I think so.
I mean,
well.
I know obviously Annie can't have much of a story herself, and she's there to set up Michael's revenge arc, but all the same, it's Jennifer Jason Leigh.
It's Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Yeah, she's always awesome, and you do want more of her. But the fact is, she is so good with so little, and that makes it all the more shocking when this scene comes along, because it is ripe with tension. That cut from Michael frantically hitting the phone in the office to make the connection to that shot of the Sullivan's phone just dangling out of its cradle. Oh, it just makes you feel so sick because, you know, oh, he's late. He's way too late. I mean, that is visual storytelling at its finest.
Yeah.
And it's the realism of it. Like when he appears at the bathroom door, Annie's first reaction isn't to beg for mercy or even try to fight back, throw something at Connor. It's the motherly protection, shields Peter straight away, turns back, even though it's going to do no good realistically. But it's the double scream that she does. Like the first one is just this one of pure shock and horror, and then and it really hits home hard. It's just got this realism to it. And the moment that really gets me, and this moment is pure Hitchcock, is when Michael Sr. gets there and he thinks Connor's seen him on the porch, which is why he's pulled the scarf down from his face.
Yeah, it's really Hitchcock,
But then that cut shows you he's just looking at his own reflection instead in the glass.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, it's so good. And the tension of Michael in silhouette on the porch, barely able to breathe in case Connor notices him. I mean, that is drawn out so effectively because Connor only takes a few seconds to compose himself, but that feels like 2 minutes. It feels like he stood there for ages with Michael just like 2 foot away from him. It's a very tough scene to watch, but it's masterfully put together.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing.
And wherever possible, Mendes shot in story order chronologically. That's to better track the characters' emotional arcs. The murder of Annie and Peter Sullivan took place in week 2, allowing Hanks to explore the full weight of his character's despair and fury.
So that was hanging over like the performance for the rest of the shoot.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff. Just seeing Tom Hanks cry, it's just a good punch.
Yeah.
It's when it's the reaction with the no upstairs and just hearing it.
Yeah.
But this is where you see that fake nose, and that's when it's really obvious. Looks like Dick Dastardly. He just needs one of them tashes. He's got exactly the same nose, which is quite weird. It kind of pulls me out of the scene a little bit because it doesn't quite look like him. It is a strange choice. But that despair of that shout, it might look upstairs and it's just the speed in which he snaps out of that and knows what he has to do.
Yeah.
It's pure revenge from then on.
It is. It's great. Great setup.
Yeah.
So the Sullivan family are ripped apart and the Rooney family aren't far behind. A devastating first act.
Yep.
The director.
The man in the director's chair was Samuel Alexander Mendes, a theatre director who was coming off the back of the roaring success of his debut feature, American Beauty.
Indeed.
So his work on his sophomore efforts and where I think he shines is in his casting choices.
Okay.
The obvious thing to note here, first off, is that it's Tom Hanks playing hugely against type.
It is.
Cold-blooded killer. But it's all right because, it's Hanks. He can get away with anything.
Yeah.
But then if you look at the rest of the cast, Newman's playing against type as well. He's done morally ambiguous in the past, of course, but he's never played the likes of a gangland boss.
No.
And then look at the actors that in 2002 we weren't that familiar with. Daniel Craig and Jude Law. Alfie and James Bond. Their roles in this film are certainly not the blueprint for what was to come in their career.
No.
And they both put in terrifying performances. Very believable considering what we come to expect from them down the line.
Yeah.
And even Stanley Tucci's playing Chicago's most feared mafia head.
Yeah.
Struggle to believe that one slightly.
It's a little bit of a stretch.
But I think Mendes does great work in coaxing these loathsome performances out of Craig and out of Law as well, who are largely affable actors.
Yeah.
Craig and Law don't come out with any redeeming qualities. They're just pure evil. But Hanks and Newman, he adds in just many more layers of ambiguity. We can see the good in Michael and in John, despite all of their, mad killings and stuff.
Yeah.
And none of that is on the page. Mendes often held shots for a beat or two longer than was expected, just allowing emotion to hang in the scene that little bit longer. And I think you can feel that.
Yeah.
I think the genius comes from casting. 2 actors who we have such affection for, which gives them an instant emotional vulnerability, making it difficult to root against either of them. No matter who wins, we lose one way or another because these 2 actors are beloved.
Yeah.
And so we bring that emotional baggage already because we're already in love with these 2 actors.
Yeah.
I think it's the classic case of show, don't tell. And I think the film is all the better for it, just subverting expectations all the way along.
Yeah.
I think it's a real step up from American Beauty. As we've said, he comes from a theatre background for that. And Spielberg handpicked him for American Beauty. And I think if you go back and look at that film, you can see his theatrical background is just all over that film. It's very interior. That famous scene across the dining table with Spacey and Annette Bening. Other scenes are just in bedrooms and bathrooms and offices. It's very kind of closeted. And the performance is quite theatrical. It wouldn't take much to put that film on stage with minimal changes. So to then move to something like this and just a second film, which has such a scope to it, is something where I don't even know how you could put this on stage. It would be entirely changed, I think. It's hugely impressive how Mendes makes that step up, but doesn't really miss any kind of beat in doing so. He turns the performances down. He moves that camera a lot more. He opens up the scale of it. He says so many of the scenes are outdoors and out on the open road. And it really feels like he's been doing it his entire career at this point, not for the first time, on only his second film. And yes, granted, he surrounded himself with the likes of Conrad Hall, Thomas Newman. But all the same, I don't ever feel like they are carrying him through this. I think he has that vision and they augment it and deliver it for him. They're not saving the day for him ever at any point. I think this film just proves he's got a real cinematic eye.
Yeah, I think he is the one who's responsible for getting the best out of the cast and crew.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think for me it is the theatre background here, and I think it's the use of block and the use of framing is so important, and it puts you in that room or in that space. It's the use of sets as well. I think the set design is incredible because you can't really tell what's a set and what isn't.
No, you can't.
And like Matt was talking about there, American Beauty to me feels like a small town theatre, and this feels like Broadway.
Nice, yeah.
He's just got he's got a bigger a bigger rig to play with. His lighting's a little bit better. He's got a bigger stage that can be, you can rotate it around.
Yeah.
And I think what Conrad Hall brings to this is that it's a bigger audience, and he moves the camera as an audience would move.
Yeah.
Keeps it still when it needs to be still, frames everything impeccably. There's nothing in that frame that shouldn't be there. The mise-en-scene's absolutely spot on. Everything about this is so assured and so well thought through. When I compare this to American Beauty, I don't think it's concise or as considered in its edit or the way it flows. I think a lot of this was done in the edit. A lot of these decisions were made later on based on how is this going to work, how is this going to flow. So it doesn't have such a tight-knit structure for me, this film. I do feel like it goes up and it goes down. Mendes was very, very sure about some parts, but I think when you watch this in its entirety, you can see the bits where he's not too sure.
Okay.
And you can see it's his second film because I think there's a lack of confidence in where it needs to go a little bit darker. There's a lack of confidence where the light moments are, and I think they're a bit too light. Okay. Just in case people didn't get it. And there's some themes running through this that he really, really reinforces. And if you watch it a good couple of times, it's just, to me, a little bit hard-hitting and a little bit over the head when he's like, Michael Jr. is not going to be like his dad. That's the theme of the film. It's like, I know. And it's constantly reinforced, constantly, bang, 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 to one of the last lines of the film. It's like, I fucking get it. Don't be so scared of the audience not getting it.
Yeah.
Because I think he thinks, well, if you get that, then you get the film. I can make other mistakes, but that theme has to go all the way through it and really has to work. He does kind of shave the edges a little bit and take some of the sharpness out of some of the scenes. Okay. I'll never tire of saying that. I think it's an incredible achievement for a second film, but without Conrad Hall, I don't think this has worked at all.
Well, he certainly brings something unique to it, doesn't it?
Oh,
yeah, 100%.
And we'll be talking about him later, certainly.
Yeah.
And Mendes encourages his cast to walk through their blocking without dialogue, allowing their faces and body language to tell the story. And that's a trick he picked up from his theatre days. And this approach paid dividends in the scenes between Sullivan and his son, because they often unfold through glances and gestures as much as words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very visual film.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
And drawing on his theatre background, Mendes, along with Conrad Hall and the production designer Dennis Gassner, spent 7 months planning every aspect of Road to Perdition's visual design before a single frame was shot.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Gassner designed sets that would reinforce the visuals of the film. The Rooney Mansion was built on a soundstage entirely out of grey and black stone, with strategic pops of brown and green to avoid total monochromia, which is a shame.
Shame for Westy.
Yeah. Coloured lenses were used to further desaturate the woodwork, fabrics, and props. Even the cars seen on screen were carefully chosen and repainted to match the film's visual scheme, which really works for me. It's a beautiful thing.
You can tell the detail and time that's gone into this.
Yeah.
And Gassner's sets were constructed to exacting specifications inside the massive Armory building in Chicago, and it was a former National Guard training facility repurposed into a sprawling soundstage. The cavernous space allowed Hall complete control over the lighting, which he kept intentionally oppressive and dank throughout. Production did have to move on from the site later on, though, as a fire damaged it beyond repair.
Wow.
Like The Shining.
Yeah, like Shine, yeah.
Despite extensive use of those sets, the plan was always to make use of as many practical locations as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago's faded Art Deco glamour and factories' scarred grittiness. Pullman, in particular, a neighborhood about 30 miles south of Chicago, has a wealth of period-accurate exteriors that required very few changes.
Nice.
And production took over entire city blocks, restoring buildings and streetcars to their former 1930s glory.
Nice.
It just feels legitimate. It feels like we're in the 30s.
Yeah.
It's very, very authentic.
It is.
So, Road to Perdition was based on a graphic novel of the same name by Max Allan Collins, and we'll talk about that more later. And after it was published, Collins' literary agent sent a copy of it to Dean Zanuck, who was then a junior development executive working for his legendary producer father, Richard D. Zanuck. And obviously, we know him for producing the likes of Jaws, Cocoon, Driving Miss Daisy.
Yes.
All the classics.
All the classics. Driving Miss Daisy, all the
straight in there.
classics.
Yeah, that's on our next poll.
It's pretty much all this film is, isn't it? Driving Michael Sullivan Jr. around Chicago.
It hasn't got quite the same ring to it, has it?
Well, I mean, you can tell I've never seen Driving Miss Daisy.
Dean Zanuck loved the book, showed his dad a copy, who also loved it and bought the rights. Zanuck Sr. sent it to Steven Spielberg, whose DreamWorks studio had a first look deal with Zanuck's production company.
Right.
And obviously Spielberg loved it as well.
Of course he did.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
Father, son, get it in there.
Yeah, love this.
Yeah. Lone Wolf and Cub. I fancy this, mate.
The word is that Spielberg was interested in directing, but he already had his hands full with other projects. And this is where Sam Mendes comes in.
Okay.
So in the spring of 2000, he was hot stuff on the back of his Oscar-winning featured filmmaking debut, American Beauty, like we've discussed. And because he was the hottest ticket in town, he had a number of screenplays thrown his way, including A Beautiful Mind, K-Pax, and The Shipping News. K-Pax, not so much. Shipping News again.
Yeah, I think he's chose wisely here.
He did.
Yeah, he has.
He's chosen wisely.
He said, I was looking for a story that was different from American Beauty in almost every way. I didn't want to wake up and find that I'd made the same film twice.
Yeah.
And he was drawn to the contrast in dialogue to American Beauty. He said it has a sparseness, a leanness to it. It speaks in images rather than words.
It really does, yeah.
Yeah.
He was inspired by the non-verbal simplicity of things like Once Upon a Time in America, Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, all of Kurosawa's films.
Yeah, all of them, yeah.
Yeah.
And he also loved the father-son dynamic and the family element of the story, but not the mafia family in it. And he said, on the surface, it's a very simple story of a father and son's journey, but actually it's a film about a father who's trying to turn a son into something other than himself. It's about the battle for the boy's soul.
Yes, a point that you've made, Westy, and the
Yeah,
film makes many times.
Many
Yes.
times.
When Mendes met with Richard D. Zanuck, he said something that was music to Zanuck's ears. He said, I don't want to make a film about guns. I want to make a film about fathers and sons.
Wow. Very nice. Sons and Roses. Love it.
The Sons of Navarone. So an important step in the career of Sam Mendes, who made possibly his best film so far. Yes.
Definitely.
The cast.
A cast full of talent. We're talking about Hanks, Newman, and child prodigy Tyler Hoechlin. In the words of the great man himself, we're firstly talking about Don Mustache with a hat on, Tom Hanks, as Michael Sullivan Sr.
Indeed.
At this point in his career, Hanks was probably the biggest actor on the planet, 2 Oscar wins under his belt, the nicest man on the planet. Everybody loves Hanks.
Yeah.
Yes.
What about you, Westy? Hanks as Michael Sullivan Sr.?
Big fan. I mean, I was a big fan of Hanks at this point because we've had Saving Private Ryan up to now. We've had That Thing You Do up to now. We've had, which I absolutely love that. This performance, it is wonderful. It is against type. Is Hanks scared to go a little bit too far into the role? Is he skirting on the outskirts and doesn't want to be a complete badass? Are you threatened by him, or is it still Tom Hanks? Does it actually work? Is it that deep? It's on the cusp.
A lot
for
of
me.
questions.
I think it's on the line. I think there's some elements where if it wasn't mentioned that he was a war hero, I think would lose all that dynamic where he has that regret and that pain about killing people. He kills people out of love for John Rooney, and that's why he does it, because he feels like he owes him.
Yeah, debt of gratitude, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's good at killing people and he doesn't want to be. He wants to be a better father and he doesn't know how to be. So I think there's all of that conflict which really comes across, but I think the way that the film's sold, and I think why it's so divisive, I think, is because of Hank's performance. So I think it's very conflicted with how you think this character behaves. I think he's a very conflicted character, and I think that's what Hanks was trying to get across, that it isn't just a one-dimensional, I'm a gangster who kills people.
No.
There's a lot of levels here. Is the film long enough to explore all those levels? Is there enough that happens in the film where he gets to really pursue that and really push that? I don't know if it does. I think it might just be a bit fast for the amount of depth that he tries to bring to the character. It does work, especially that diner scene. That works for me, absolutely. The death of Vanny and Peter, that really works for me. That strikes home. Even when he's just telling them which churches to go to, that really strikes home, and he reaches over and the blood's on his hand. It's all these little nuanced bits, and all them bits really work. But there's other bits where it feels like it was a bit of a missed opportunity, and he just kind of turns into Tom Hanks, and he just kind of pulls the parachute a little bit, and there's a safety if you just have Tom Hanks. So I think it's down to Mendes as well as Hanks being like, at which point can I go? At which point am I going to be reined back in a little bit? At which point am I going to fall back in just the Tom Hanks that everybody knows to make the film safe? And I think there is that element of him stepping forward and stepping back. I think a lot of people are conflicted with that. If you just accept that and realize you're not going to get all the answers from this character, do you realize they're not? Spoiler alert, but he is going to die with questions that need to be asked about who he was and what his motivations were and how confused his life was. If you can handle that and you're okay with that, you'll really enjoy this film. And I can handle that, and I'm okay with that, but I think there's a lot of people who aren't. And if Hanks had played this any straighter without all them elements of depth, I don't think we'd still be talking about the film now. I think it really, really works. But another half an hour on it, he might just have nailed it completely.
Possibly. I just think that it's Tom Hanks, and he never stops being Tom Hanks in the film.
Well, there's always that, yeah.
What does he kill? At least 15 people in the film? In cold blood.
Yeah.
But he doesn't disappear into it.
When he's the most believable as the character is when you don't see it's Tom Hanks doing the shooting. You just see the effects of it. And you're like, oh,
that's right.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's the character. That's Michael Sullivan.
I think, unfortunately, he just keeps you at arm's length because it is Hanks.
Yeah, I understand that, yeah.
I mean, still brilliant, and he still plays the nuance of the character great, I think.
Yeah.
And Hanks was Mendes' first choice for the role of Michael Sr., and he said he saw in Hanks' innate likability the chance to craft an anti-hero whose gradual humanization might sneak up on audiences. He said, I wanted to slowly reveal his character rather than pushing it to the foreground.
Hanks wasn't looking for a bad guy role, but he responded favourably to the script's father-son themes, of course.
Yeah.
At the time, he was a father of 4, including a young son not much older than the character of Michael Jr. So the idea of struggling to keep his son from following in his father's dark footsteps struck chord.
Yeah.
Not that he's got dark footsteps, it's Tom Hanks, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Hanks also loved the idea of the strong, silent type, a man of actions, not words, almost like a Western-style gunslinger. Mendes saw Hanks' casting as an opportunity to subvert his star persona and audiences' expectations of his character.
Mendes said, you see him as an anonymous silhouette before you see him as Tom Hanks. It's like he's coming out of an old myth or a forgotten dream.
I mean, a very romanticised version of the film, that. It's there if you really want to look for it. But I mean,
search
a lot
for that
of
if you want.
Yeah, I mean, but you'll be searching a while. 10th page of Google if you're searching for that.
Mendes keeps Sullivan at arm's length from the audience at the start of the film, never really showing his face fully in frame. It's only gradually, as his relationship with the son becomes stronger, do we see more of Hanks behind the shadows.
A specific choice, and I think that's effective for the film.
To further distance the character from his movie star charisma, Mendes asked Hanks to adopt a period-appropriate pencil moustache and slick his hair back. Contact lenses turned the actor's blue eyes brown, further muddying his appearance.
Yes, and of course, you've mentioned the prosthetic nose, which
Yeah.
feels like an indulgence, to be quite honest.
Yeah, an unnecessary indulgence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a very surprising role for Hanks in 2002, or any time for that matter. It's certainly the darkest role in his career, a career which is all the better for it.
Yeah, I think so.
Really is.
Next up, bona fide Hollywood royalty, the legend that was and always will be Paul Newman as John Rooney. Another top of the list cast and choice, the legendary Paul Newman, 77 years old at the time. This was his beautiful swan song. Matt, it's over to you.
I mean, what you're doing when you cast Newman in this is you bring in the weight of an iconic 50-year career to this role. You're bringing in someone who's already head and shoulders above everyone else on screen, even Tom Hanks at this point, I would say.
Yes.
And there's an ingrained respect to that, and that's what Newman brings. When he starts talking, everyone shuts up and pays attention instantly.
Yeah.
And there's no question that John is a man to be feared underneath that kind of avuncular image that he has. Like when they're having that sit down at the table and he thumps that table in anger at Connor, you would like to apologise. Try again. You can see everyone around that table holding their breath.
Yeah.
And so do we, because we don't know where this is going, and we know John is steeped in blood to hold the position that he does.
Love it.
That was an ad-lib from Newman as well, wasn't it? Was it? He just said to Mendes, he's like, I'm going to do something. He's like, well, what? He said, I'm just going to do something. And when you hit that table, you can see because the stuff lifts off the table.
Everybody's surprised.
Yeah. And I think the take of Daniel Craig standing up and being, gentlemen, my apologies, was straight after that, which totally works.
Yeah,
excellent. Unreal.
No, it's an incredible scene. But at the same time, as we've been saying, this is a guy who played Butch Cassidy and Cool Hand Luke. He's played so many good guys, and he's got so much movie charisma, and he's still got that twinkle in his eye here. Like when he's playing dice with Michael's boys, and he's just being the lovable uncle or the lovable granddad, it's not an act, that's also who he is. And that makes him much more interesting than just being an out-and-out cold-blooded murderer. And ultimately, you're talking about a character not in it that much, really, but he's got to leave an indelible impression of everything I've talked about there, all those different elements that constitute this man who strikes the fear of God into people one minute, and then he just makes kids laugh the next.
Yes.
You can only have very few actors who can do that instantly, and Paul Newman was one of them. And yes, as we've been saying, he would go on and do voices for the Pixar movies, Cars, and the sequels, but this is his last on-screen performance. And I can't think of any other actor who obviously unknowingly took their leave with one of their very best performances. You know what I mean? What an actor he was, what a career he had, and what a way to sign off.
Yeah, well said. It's some end chapter, isn't it?
Oh, it really is, yeah.
And for an old man, he still packs some wallop, doesn't he?
It's his posture. You can just see he's like Atlas. He's just holding up the whole world. But if you believe he could do it, it's like it's fantastic. And his final words in the film as well, when we get into that scene, I'm glad it's you. Fucking yes, man.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, those are his last on-screen words as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mendes saw in Newman's weathered face and world-weary eyes the embodiment of his character, John Rooney. The most powerful man in town, now reduced to petty in-family squabbling as his empire disintegrates, along with his relationships with his biological and adopted sons. I love that setup, that dynamic, that layering of the sons, biological, adopted sons. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah. Newman was intrigued by the script, finding echoes of his own portrayal of pool hall hustler Fast Eddie Felson in The Hustler and in The Colour of Money.
Certainly got the ambiguity. He's not straight up and down, is he? Eddie Felson.
No.
And then to help capture Rooney's Irish accent, Newman drafted in Angelus Ashes author and Irish native Frank McCourt. Newman had record all of his lines so he could study the cadences and rhythm of a native speaker.
Nice.
Yeah, he would go into his trailer and listen back to the tapes kind of systematically to make sure he wasn't veering off course.
Yeah.
Right, nice.
Any intimidation Hanks may have felt acting opposite a screen legend such as Newman quickly eased as Newman and he fell into a deep, loving relationship, friendship.
I bet. Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
And they were 25 years apart, but they bonded over shared affinity with race car driving and games of badminton. Hanks called Newman Pop, and Newman reciprocated with Son.
Oh, very nice.
That's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just going to have to brush up on my badminton and race car drivers in case I meet somebody I need to be very good friends with, because I would be fucked in that scenario, I'll be honest.
Imagine you get to meet, who would be your ultimate?
It'd be someone like Bobby Duvall for me.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, Westy, I mean, I think he's more like 50 years your age.
I know, right?
And if he's still doing badminton, I think.
Still in good nick.
Still in good nick. Great Nick.
Yeah, that's how he got into Great Nick for Apocalypse Now.
The original Great Nick.
It's playing badminton on the beach. One day during filming, cinematographer Conrad Hall was setting up a shot of Paul Newman through his viewfinder. He broke down in tears. When asked what was wrong, Hall said, "He was so beautiful. He was so beautiful."
Wow.
I
Incredible.
agree.
Yeah.
And this has taken on extra poignancy because Road to Perdition was the final film they worked on together, having collaborated on 4 others, including Cool Hand Luke and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Cassidy. Yeah.
Incredible stuff.
Yeah.
So a top performance, one of Newman's best, and a fitting way to end such an illustrious career, live action at least.
Really was.
Yes.
Next, a child actor, an unknown in a cast of huge names, but Tyler Hoechlin more than held his own as Michael Jr.
Yeah.
Now, I wasn't expecting much from Hoechlin on the first watch, to be honest. I kind of already made me mind up that it was a child actor's performance. He's just going to get swallowed by this huge cast. But I was happily blown away by him. For a 14-year-old kid to hold his own against Hanks and Newman is remarkable enough, but he does more than just keep up. Those eyes of his are doing some incredible work throughout the film. You can see him processing everything, the violence, the revelation about his father, the loss of his mother and brother. He conveys all of that confusion and fear without ever overplaying it or overstating it.
Yeah.
And what I love most is how he shows Michael Jr. gradually harden as the film progresses. At the beginning, he's obviously this innocent kid playing with his brother. By the end, at the point that you made, Matt, there's something different behind those eyes. Not quite adult, but no longer a child either. And he charts that transformation just fantastically well.
Yeah.
The moment where he drives away with his dad shot, he's processing what's just happened, his face gradually crumpling as the reality hits. It's heartbreaking to watch a child with this kind of cherubic face.
Yeah.
I think most adult actors would struggle with that level of emotional complexity, but he nails it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't ever feel like a typical movie kid. There's no kind of like smart ass, precocious dialogue or forced wisdom beyond his years.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, from this, 2002, imagine if this was like Haley Joel Osment off the back of the Sixth Sense. It'd be like, what on earth? It'd just be far too much.
It just feels very, very natural. He just feels like a real boy trying to understand an incomprehensible situation. And the chemistry between him and Hanks, that feels genuinely paternal. You believe that these two are father and son, which is essential for the film to work. Mendes asked Hanks and Hoechlin to improvise dialogue for their scenes of bonding on the road. And that conversation beside the fire about the nature of good and evil was largely the result of this improvised approach.
Right.
It just works fantastically.
It does.
Yeah.
I think he's just made for the big screen. He's just got that look. And he reminds me a little bit of Christopher Sarron, who plays the young Henry Hill in Goodfellas.
Oh, he does, yeah.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
right.
got a similar look.
That's where you're coming from,
Kind of like almost like cherubic, those piercing eyes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
The voiceovers are quite similar as well.
Yeah, they are. I think it's one of the most underrated child performances. One which definitely gets lost under the weight of Newman, Hanks, Conrad Hall, Sam Mendes, all of that.
Yeah.
But he's great.
And the search for the right child to play Michael Sullivan Jr. was epic in scope. Over 2,000 young actors from across the US and Canada auditioned for the role, and this was eventually narrowed down to 200 contenders, and each submitted a screen test opposite Hanks.
Yeah, and these were whittled down to 20 semi-finalists flown out to Chicago for in-person auditions. From this group, 13-year-old Tyler Hoechlin was handpicked by Mendes and knocking his reading out of the park.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot for Tom Hanks to contend with, isn't it? 20 semi-finalists. Oh.
Yeah.
No, the little shit I've got to work alongside. But to help build their natural father-son dynamic further, Mendes had Hanks and Hoechlin spend loads of weeks off camera. They played catch. They worked on improving Hoechlin's driving skills. And by the time the cameras were ready to roll, their relationship just felt lived in, felt real.
Right. Yeah.
They play badminton?
No badminton, that was reserved just for Newman and Hanks.
Just for Newman,
Right.
fair enough. Yeah.
Yes.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Shame.
Hoechlin went on to find success in television, landing major roles in family drama Seventh Heaven and the supernatural teen spin-off series Teen Wolf, but he was eventually cast as Clark Kent in Supergirl and the spin-off Superman and Lois. So he's done well for himself if he hasn't been in a presence really in film after this. So a superb cast on Road to Perdition. We've talked about Daniel Craig. We briefly mentioned Jennifer Jason Leigh, and there are more to come. But in Hanks and Newman, you've got two screen legends. And in Hoechlin, we've got a considerably underrated child performance.
Yes.
3 of the best.
Yes, very good.
The middle.
We've seen the initial devastation of Connor's actions, and now we get the ripple effect, starting with the Rooneys, Westy.
Yeah, I mean, their reaction is quite a reaction, isn't it? A Rooney reaction is quite a fucking thing.
Isn't it?
So yeah, this is just it's a very, very short scene, but one that I always remembered when I left the cinema. It's one that's always stuck with us. And I think it's just the way that Newman just owns this and attacks it, and the way that it's lit and the way that it's shot. He has that strip of light on his face where you see just enough emotion, but it's almost like he hasn't got the energy left. And this is just one thing. Just don't get anything else wrong, and I'll live the rest of my life doing things right. And you've fucked it now. You've fucked everything. And just the lines are amazing. It's just the delivery of these lines.
Yes.
I curse the fucking day you were born. And he's like, repeat, I fucking curse it. It's like
He really means it.
Craig's reaction here, where he's just a wimp. He's just a whimpering mess.
Yes.
He doesn't stand up for anything. He doesn't say what he's done's right. He knows what he's done's wrong. His dad knows that this is what he's going to be like when he's gone. This is what his empire's left. This is his legacy left to this guy. And he's just all of that frustration in what, like 3 minutes? And it's the way that he turns from the beaten to the God help us, to the father embrace. God help us. God help us. And he's like, I, that's it now. I just don't know what to do. It is just really, really powerful because their performance reinforces Michael Sullivan's character.
Yeah.
They're now scared. He's now scared. Rooney's now scared. And you think, oh shit, what is he capable of? What we're going to see from now? I agree, and it really sets up the second act and really starts the film rolling.
That God help us line. That's a line he repeats later.
Yeah. With Nitty, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, with Nitty. Yeah. That reinforces what you're saying, like what is Michael capable of.
Yeah.
But it reinforces the religious imagery, which is just coursing through the film as well.
It is. Yeah, 100%.
But in the next scene, we see that Mike Sr. has ice running through his veins. This house is not our home anymore. It's just an empty building. He leaves behind the broken dreams of half of his family in a heartbeat. He knows that if he shows any weakness, it'll be Michael Jr. who suffers. Great.
Yeah. That symbolism of the bike as well, just leaving his childhood in the snow.
Yeah. That's great. Great shot. And then after that, an incredibly swift scene. Mike visits Jack Kelly to find out where Connor is. Kelly plays it as cool as a cucumber because he doesn't think he's in any danger. And neither do we, because this is Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
And that's the great trick that Mendes pulls throughout the film. It's Tom Hanks. He's not a cold-blooded killer, but I beg to differ.
He is, yeah.
Give John a message. What is it? Bang. Cold-blooded execution from Joshua Baskin. Unbelievable. Now anything's possible.
Yeah, that camera pushing as well is just beyond genius. It really reinforces that moment.
Quick great. Zoom, great.
Yeah, and then the scene that I'm going for comes after this, and it's slightly longer. And, I picked this one for the obvious reason, which is my deep abiding love for The Untouchables, of which Frank Nitti, played by Billy Drago, is a huge part. And I know what you said earlier about Stanley Tucci, isn't it? He doesn't quite work, but actually I really like this casting because for me, it's the contrast. This isn't the horrible assassin you got with De Palma.
That's true.
I mean, Tucci's always excellent, but I think Nitti shows the reason why Capone got away with so much is because he put on the front of being a businessman and he ran his empire like it was a business. So Nitti, he's like a HR manager here. He's got a secretary. He's got a whole line of people with a whole host of grievances that the one run past him and say, right, I'll see him first, then get that guy in. And like, if anyone's ever held any position of management, you'll know part of the job is having difficult conversations with someone, which is obviously ramped up here by what the conversations are about, And there's so much great dialogue here, will one more body make a difference? That's great. The whole scene where he lays out at Michael what the ramifications will be if he goes through this door. All that loyalty and all that trust will no longer exist for you. Just really well spoken, black and white, but it's not a threat. It's so rationally and calmly explained to him. And as he says, he's not protecting Connor. We're protecting our interests, Mike. So it really lets you know where everyone stands in this film going forward.
Yeah, it really gives you the hierarchy of this organization.
Yeah.
There's that amazing shot when they come into Chicago. They labeled the Dorothy arriving in Oz shot, where Michael Jr. first sees the Chicago skyline. They used a complex 3-camera rig to capture a 180-degree background plate, and the cameras were set up in an overlap and array, and the resultant footage was stitched together to create a wraparound environment that could be mapped onto the car windows in perspective as the main camera moved around with the vehicle.
Right.
Unbelievable stuff.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
A really complex shot.
That's how you use CGI as well to reinforce
Absolutely.
the story. Yeah.
Incredible stuff.
And Tucci was hesitant to take on the role at first, as he generally avoided playing gangster parts to sidestep stereotyping of Italian Americans. However, the chance to work with director Sam Mendes utterly convinced Tucci to accept the part.
And there's a deleted scene from the film with Anthony LaPaglia as Al Capone, but it was cut because Mendes thought that Capone was far more menacing as an unseen presence. And Alfred Molina was originally in the frame for the role, but he couldn't make it because of scheduling conflicts.
It would have been good.
Yeah, he would have been great.
LaPaglia, wow.
Love
Yeah,
LaPaglia.
LaPaglia, yeah, he's great.
So with a rejection from Nitti, the Sullivans are out on their own and losing friends fast.
Yep.
The walls are closing in on the Sullivans, and there's someone else they need to worry about. And that man is weasel-faced sneak, Harlan Maguire.
Yeah, good description.
Yes. There's a wonderful kind of reverse dolly shot of him walking under the train tracks in the opening shot.
Yeah, fantastic.
It's almost like we're being forced into an introduction we don't want. It's really good.
Yeah, it's really great. And with that music as well, it's really unsettling.
It is. Harlan's such a nasty piece of work who takes pictures of dead bodies, even finishing the job with some of them if they haven't quite popped off. This scene where he first suffocates that guy with a knife in him kind of reminds me a little bit of Holy Grail Monty Python. Bring out your dead. I'm not dead. I feel happy.
Yeah.
But he's such an odd character, really seedy. Pictures of actual dead people hanging up in his house.
Yeah.
So we know he's not to be trifled with. It's a really great character intro. Jude Law was obviously piping hot when he was cast in the film. A heartthrob, you might even say.
Yeah.
So a credit to him that he was willing to push against this persona for the role of Harlan Maguire. He needed to be amoral and repulsive, Law said. There's something stinky about him. He's like a bad smell.
Yeah, he is. He's awful.
Yeah, he reeks. Yeah.
To achieve the desired rodent-like quality, Law packed on a few extra pounds. Makeup artist Fern Butchner gave him pock-marked skin, rotten teeth, and greasy comb-over. I mean, his hair's ludicrous. And I think that was down to Jude Law as well, just wanting to have that kind of vibe. And,
Yeah, he really
break
pushed
free
into
of that.
it.
Yeah, that heartthrob persona that he had. The contact lenses turned his eyes into ice blue. Mendes said, we wanted him to have a seedy countenance.
You got that?
Yeah,
he did.
absolutely.
And as mentioned, the walls of his rented room and darkroom were decorated with a series of graphic real-life crime scene photographs from 1930 Chicago. The black and white images were carefully chosen to evoke the work of famed tabloid photographer Arthur Weegee Fellig, because he was a freelance photographer from the era whom Harlan was based on.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, Ouija got his name, a riff on the term Ouija, because he eerily managed to reach crime scenes before the authorities, leading some to suspect that he had an almost clairvoyant sense for when and where crimes would happen. But in reality, he paid for tip-offs from the emergency services and sold his pictures to the press.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
He was a bastard.
Yeah, disgusting.
I mean, I'll just continue talking about Jude Law because whenever anyone mentions this film to me, it's the diner scene I think of first and foremost.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Unbelievable.
Because when Road to Perdition wants to really wind up the tension, it really does it effectively. And I think this scene's the best example of that, because I think there's this ambiguity of Harlan and Michael in the scene. What do they know about each other? You know, I don't know. Has Maguire underestimated Michael here, or is he simply enjoying the thrill of the chase? And he likes the fact that, you know, maybe Michael recognizes him, because Michael straight away sees the red flags everywhere. As soon as he sits down, it's like his ears prick up. The yellow teeth, that forced jollity he has with the waitress, which is completely insincere. And that same insincerity carries into the conversation that they have, because we know Maguire knows who Michael is, but we're not sure if Michael knows who Maguire is. And if he does Maguire in turn know that? So you're not quite sure who has the upper hand here.
That's great.
Yeah.
Because if he does, then this whole conversation they have, to be paid to do what you love, ain't that the dream? It's got a whole different context to it. And the way Maguire goes, machine parts, that's wonderful. Just
I love that,
can barely keep the sarcasm out of his voice. Like I said, I think he's enjoying the thrill of the chase. I don't think he cares if he's giving himself away.
I think I get from the character as well as like, I'm going to use that. That's fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
That's excellent.
Wonderful. Yeah,
that as well.
Yeah.
And I love the simplicity that Mendes shoots this with, just that simple back and forth, nothing elaborate, nothing showy, just very simple shots until, bam, that revelation. I shoot the dead bodies, that is. And then you get just that single bead of sweat slowly trickling down Michael's face, because every question from Maguire now was so loaded with menace and double meaning. You know, when he's talking about the dead bodies, you never seen one? Terrible thing. But it sure makes you feel alive, don't it? So this whole scene, it just dances that line of ambiguity of what does one character know about the other? And does the other character in turn realise that they've been made by the other? Because Maguire was certainly caught up by Michael subtly swiping that knife away. And I think Mendes just draws the scene out magnificently.
Yeah, sound design on this scene's unbelievable.
Oh, what?
But I just love the introduction of the character. He's loading that camera like he's loading a gun. And
Yes.
he puts it on the table
Yeah,
just right in front of him.
Yeah.
Hanks does a real good job of playing dumb
Yeah.
and not
really.
alerting him that he's onto him.
No. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Mendes encouraged Jude Law to find some dark humour in Maguire, and he effectively played him as the Wile E. Coyote to Hanks's Roadrunner.
Nice. Yeah,
That's
that works.
great.
Yeah.
That's great.
They bought that whole diner online as well. They just found
That's
it online.
right.
Yeah, it's great. That I might look into that. 20 grand or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Unbelievable. It's a great set.
It is amazing, yeah. Mm-hmm. So we'll go from that scene. Is it the last we're going to see of Maguire? I'm not too sure, but we shall have to wait. And we'll go into the robbing banks. This is what we need to do next. You know, even Rocky had a montage. So we kind of need to put that in there somewhere. This is where it slightly comes off the boil for me. It feels like it's a little bit too lighthearted. It feels like it's a little bit too much of a breath of fresh air. I know that it might be needed, and that's okay. But is it a little bit overlong? Is it just pulling the car up really slowly? Is that just a little bit too funny for what we're trying to do here?
It's a bit like Oh Brother, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah. But I mean, Oh Brother had that tone, and it knows when to dip in and out of it, and it doesn't go too far to kind of say, you know, did you get that? It's lighthearted now. You can relax for a bit. You know, there's always them elements where it could snap back, and here I don't feel like it's ever going to snap back. Here you feel like you've got a good 15, 20 minutes to kind of get your breath back. Right, we've been through it, and I don't know if I like that or not.
Okay.
I think the first time I saw it, maybe, but I've seen a lot of films that have been a lot heavier than this and have been just, you know, the pace of it and putting you through it all to some kind of conclusion. And I feel like it's just a bit too much of a light touch for me.
Okay.
There's a level of threat, and the lack of threat just completely disappears at this point.
Yeah.
You don't feel like anything bad's going to happen. So for me, it kind of dips here. I lose attention a little bit. And that might be because it's kind of broad daylight. The lighting's just not as striking. It's not as atmospheric. It's not as emotional. Just a little, just to keep that sense of threat just behind the scenes would have been good for me.
Yeah, I think it does serve a good purpose in that it's building up the relationship between the two Michaels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like that. However, I think that's kind of blunted with a scene later on that I'm going to talk about. But we'll talk about that later on.
Okay. And one of the first scenes filmed was this montage of Sullivan and his son, Robin Banks, cross-cut with newsreel footage of Herbert Hoover's inauguration speech. And this required seamless intercutting between colour and monochrome footage, rear screen projection, and hidden camera cars.
Yeah, it's one of the most complex scenes in the film. It's certainly the most joyous, whether you like it or not.
Fair enough, yeah.
I think it adds some much-needed levity to the film. But if you like it, then make the most of it, because that won't last long.
Yeah,
No,
there's not a lot
exactly.
more.
No.
The crew.
A very talented, classy crew on Road to Perdition.
Yep.
The cinematography and music are coming. But first, it's a screenplay by David Self, adapted from the 1998 graphic novel of the same name. Matt, your thoughts on the screenplay?
I think it feels very surprising that this comes from a graphic novel. It's not something like Sin City, for example, where you watch and go, yes, I see that working visually on a page, or something I'll physically hold in my hand and turn over.
Yeah, or 300.
Yeah, 300
This
as
isn't
well.
very 300, is it? Yeah.
Yeah. This I don't so much. And, you know, I have gone and looked at it online and read a bit. And again, it doesn't strike me as something you'd immediately go, yes, put this into a script. Now it's going to work. So I think probably the most impressive thing is how they've identified the elements that won't just translate visually, but also translate into theme and plot and structure. I mean, we've said already so much in here about fathers and sons carrying the sins of the fathers, the ramifications of violence, all intertwined with a lot of great dialogue as well. I think the dialogue really stands out.
Yeah.
And I think, like much of the film, it's just about the simplicity of it. It's very stripped back. It's very down the line, which is maybe the one element where more see its roots in the graphic novel, because that format, I think it tends to be quite simple because of the nature of it. So I think for Self to pick up on all of that and then expand on it the way he has done, that then lets Mendes and Hall expand on it even further in a visual sense, it's a very good job indeed.
Yeah, I think for me, it's these elements of dialogue that is kind of grounded in the authenticity, but it's also the exploration of like the family dynamic with a really dark tone, a really shadow tone. You know, it's not showing the positive side of a family dynamic. It's showing the grief and the pain and the heartbreak that you have to go through and hold a family together through it. So it is showing that other side of it. And what I get from this, I mean, I've got the graphic novel, but I've not read it all the way through it because to me, it's just so different.
Right.
So it's really different in tone. It was harder. It's a lot harder of a story. It's a lot more harsh in its tone.
Right.
And I think that's what Self was trying to get at. I think he did have that dark tone on the page. And I think that works visually when it's gone over to Conrad Hall and it's gone to Sam Mendes. But I do think that it has been softened quite a bit. I think this would have been great on paper because you would imagine it, right? Okay, you know, father and son go in, start robbing the banks and start taking away all the gangland's money, and they're just trying to disrupt everything. And you just think, right, that's going to be strong. That's going to work. And then for that to be then turned into a montage and visually, I don't know if that kind of takes it away. I think it's all there. There's some incredible dialogue and there's some really great things and really great themes that are being explored. And I don't really think this is a screenplay where people have gone, anyone could be in this film and it works.
Yeah.
I think if you read the screenplay and you have two people that are cast wrong and you don't have Conrad Hall shooting it, you don't have Thomas Newman doing the score, and you don't have Mendes sitting on the edit as much as he did and, you know, being very meticulous about what works where. I think this works because it's a complex jigsaw. Self has all the pieces, but I think his jigsaw looked very, very different to what Mendes does with the pieces.
Yeah, we've talked about it. It's a very visual film. And I think the screenplay gives the framework for Mendes's visuals. And I'm just a big fan of the layers in the writing and the double meaning to everything underpinning this incredible multi-layered father-son narrative like we talked about. The position of the title is literal and metaphorical. It's the place where Michael's aunt lives and it's going to be their literal safe haven. But the word perdition means hell or damnation. So when they get there, the devil metaphorically comes for his due and Michael Sr. doesn't make it. Of course.
Again, I mean, that's a beautiful thing when you look at the writing and having that as the place that they're going, but it's only mentioned once and it's not done subtly.
No, it's not.
It's like slammed down your throat. Like that idea is great. So they've went, right, let's have them see it. It's in Perdition. And then the whole, it's almost like they stop a minute and look at the audience and go, do you know what Perdition is? Are you understand
what that is?
Right, let's move on.
Yes.
There's no subtleties in the direction. Did you get it? And I think that there's a lot of that all the way through this film.
Yeah, there is. There's a bit of heavy-handedness, I would say.
Yeah.
But it's the sins of his past catching up with him, Michael. Sins of the past that he doesn't want to pass on to his son. They've travelled on this road to hell together, and Michael Sr. has tried to protect his son from falling into this world. That is hammered home.
Yes.
Yeah, and ultimately, you know, Michael Sr. had to die. It's in the title of the film, but he can die a happy man that the chain has been broken and his son is not on the same path as him. Yeah. But I also love the complexities in the father-son narrative that are taken one step further when looking at John Rooney. Michael isn't his son, but he's got a better relationship with him than his actual son, Connor. But ultimately, blood is thicker than water, and bad decisions are made, despite how destructive they are. I think John knows he's going to die, but he can't turn his back on his son, no matter how horrifically he's behaved. So it's the ties that bind us together, and it all taps into that quote from the film, sons were put on this earth to trouble their fathers.
Yeah.
In one way or another, that's exactly what the film's about. Rooney is damned by his son. Sullivan is saved by his.
Yeah.
So I do like the writing there, particularly from unlikely source material. There's some real depth to the writing here for me. Yeah.
Yes. As mentioned, Road to Perdition is based on the graphic novel of the same name, written by Max Allan Collins in 1998, illustrated by Richard Piers Rayner. Collins drew inspiration from a number of sources. One was the 70s manga series Lone Wolf and Cub. There you go. That tells a story of a disgraced 17th century assassin who travels the country seeking revenge with his infant son in tow. I mean, it's the Mandalorian. It's coming around again and again and again, isn't it? It's always
That's
there.
True, yeah.
Another inspiration was the trials and tribulations of real-life Midwestern gangsters John Patrick Looney and his doomed son Connor. John Looney, John Rooney. I see what they did there. I get it.
Yes.
Connor was murdered by his rivals, supposedly in an attempt to assassinate his father. John Looney managed to survive the attack, but his criminal organisation crumbled in the aftermath.
Yeah.
Matt, will you say your bit, please?
So Spielberg drafted in screenwriter David Self to adapt it for the screen because he'd been impressed by his work on 13 Days, which is a really great film, by the way.
It is
and
great.
He later commissioned him to write the screenplay for the remake of The Haunting. Less said about that one, the better, though, because there were significant rewrites on that.
That's right, yeah. So really, Self can't be blamed as such. So individually, yes.
Yeah.
Self was a lifelong comic book fan who had once interned at Marvel Comics working under the legendary writer artist Frank Miller.
Mm-hmm.
And through various rewrites, Self's screenplay moved away from the source material. The nuts and bolts remained, but there were some big changes.
So Newman's character kept the surname of the mobster he was based on, John Looney, and Jude Law's character, Harlem McGuire, he's little more than a footnote in the novel.
There's a big difference in the depiction of violence. It was significantly toned down for the film, with some scenes being removed completely. In Collins' novel, Michael Jr. kills someone, whereas he does not in the film.
Yeah, well, I mean,
But I
that's
think
what this entire film is built on.
Yeah.
And I think at the end he turns into a preacher, doesn't he?
That's right. Yes, he does. Mm-hmm.
He has a confession, and that's how it ends.
That's correct, yes. And that was a scene that was shot for the film, but didn't make it.
That's a bit too far, and it's
Yes, it is.
iconography, I think.
It is, definitely, yeah. We get it. Yeah.
Yes, I understand that. I'm fucking surprised it's not in there, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think the changes mostly serve to kind of move away from the pulpy crime saga that the novel is and give it a more of a pristine sheen. That's what Mendes wanted to do.
Yeah, it's more of that deft touch, isn't it?
Definitely. Well, with that, we have our first question from an ATRM patron.
Okay.
And we mentioned it at the top, become an ATRM Patreon supporter. You can ask us questions for the film that we're talking about. And this first one comes from Ryan Douglas. Hello, Ryan.
Hello, Ryan.
Ryan says, Road to Perdition has one of the great underrated film quotes in his opinion. He said, this is the life we chose, the life we lead. There is only one guarantee. None of us will see heaven. With Sullivan replying, Michael could.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Wonderful.
What underrated film quotes are your favourite? So I'll pick this straight away.
Yep. Up your street, this one.
Yeah, straight away. Here it comes.
Everyone that we do together is probably underrated.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is a great line that you've picked out there, Ryan,
It
as
is,
well. Very
yeah.
nice. Great writing. I'm getting straight in there with a familiar one. Zodiac, Dave Toschi, thank you. Thank you for breakfast.
Yeah.
That's my second one on my list.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We've said it before, but it's just stuffed with meaning. Of course, he is obviously thanking Grace Smith for breakfast, but he's also thanking him for solving the mystery, for giving him freedom, for breaking his shackles. I use it a lot, but in situations which probably isn't quite as meaningful as Dave Toschi, the dancer.
No,
I wouldn't have thought so.
But the intention's still there.
Yeah, mine's just literal.
Yeah.
Cheers for breakfast.
Thanks for the toast.
Thanks. Thanks. Cheers. You still don't pay for it, which he does.
And from Scorsese's The King of Comedy, after Rupert Pupkin's stand-up bit, he wraps it up by saying, better be king for a night than schmuck for a lifetime. And he really believes that. I mean, he's going to jail for a long time, but it's a great way to sum up the reverence and thirst for celebrity, no matter the cost. I think it's an underrated line. I really like that. And on a different note, in that same film, that picture of his pride and joy, I can't get enough of that. You want to see a picture of my pride and joy? That's fantastic. I'd love that.
It is great.
Westy, what about you?
Leave the gun, take the cannoli.
Ah, nice.
I think that just really kind of sums up most of the film without getting too deep or too far into it. It's kind of like, leave the violence, take the heritage, but you got to look after the heritage with the violence. So I think it's just really great. Could be throwaway, but again, really works. Everyone mentions the Tears and Rain speech from Blade Runner. But I think a far more important line, it's too bad she won't live. But then again, who does?
The delivery on that's incredible.
And it just when it comes back as well in the director's cut and he hears it and he just goes, right, well, you need to live your life now then.
Yeah.
You could die at any time. That's not the point. It's not the point. It's just a replicant. It's about living your life. It's about you to live, but then again, who does?
Exactly.
I absolutely love that. And one of the funniest ones, and I mentioned this on a few episodes ago.
Okay.
And it absolutely smashes me in every single time. And it's the delivery on this as well. I think it's one of the funniest lines in any film. And it's from the Blues Brothers. And when he says, you're going to look pretty funny trying to eat corn on the cob with no fucking teeth, I think that's one of the best lines. And I remember first time hearing that and just the vitriol behind that delivery. It is just so brilliantly done. And I laugh every time I hear it. And not enough people know about it. It's just great. No fucking teeth.
It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I love that line. That is so funny.
I remember watching that when we did that video analysis for the Blues Brothers a few years back. And I hadn't seen the Blues Brothers for a few years. And it came to that scene and it just took me completely off guard. And I was I was decked.
It's great.
Absolutely hilarious.
It's hilarious.
What about you, Matt? Underrated lines?
I've gone from one series one to comic ones. The series one is Paddy Considine's voiceover in Dead Man's Shoes. God will forgive them. He will give them and allow them into heaven. I can't live with that.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
That's amazing. That sets it up brilliantly.
That is an underrated film, an underrated line. Everybody should see that film.
Everybody needs to see Dead Man's Shoes. Yeah. And then in comic ones, I mean, it's a Tom Hanks line, and it's from The Burbs, and it just, from the very first time I saw this, it made me laugh, and it's when Hanks' son in that is explaining how he's got that theory about what the Klopeks were up to, and he says it's because Ricky Butler told him, and Hanks just says really sarcastically, "Oh, Ricky Butler said." And that's it's whenever I hear someone like see someone just speak absolute bullshit on TV, like a politician or a football manager making excuses, I'll just go, "Oh, Ricky Butler said." Just the sheer disdain Hanks puts into that is amazing.
Great. Towards his son as well.
Towards his son as well. Oh, Ricky Butler said.
Ricky Butler says.
Yeah. You just know from that moment on, don't believe anything Ricky Butler says.
Yeah.
He's full of shit.
Yeah. There's so many great lines in The Burbs.
I mean, there is.
Pulled that into Road to Perdition. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, those are beauties. Going to build something with those?
And the other one from one of our all-time favourites, and we do say this quite a lot, and it's from In Bruges, and it's when Ken is on the phone to Harry trying to make an excuse for Ray not being there, and he says they went to Pizza Hut, and he says, "How was it?" And he just goes, "Well, Pizza Hut."
Pizza Hut,
I just, there's something about that line, it's so funny, and again, it's one where, like, I try to bring that into conversation. If someone asks how something was, where it's really obvious what it would be like, well, it's Pizza Hut.
Great.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Matt, you've shown a lot of restraint by not saying a line from In Bruges that I may have thought you said.
Well, just go back, listen to the In Bruges episode to hear that one in its full
That's
glory.
in there. All the old buildings and that.
All the old buildings.
You use this word, alcoves? And various other quotes from In Bruges.
Yes, we could be here all day, let's be honest.
We could, yeah. So there you go, Ryan. Thank you for the question.
Yes,
we hope
thank
you
you so
liked
much.
our lines. Yep, not ours, we pulled them from films, but delivery's impeccable.
Indeed.
So impressive writing from David Self, adding a sheen of class to a pulpy graphic novel.
Yeah.
Next up, we have the music in the film, composed by Thomas Newman.
Mm-hmm.
Our thoughts on the music. I think it's quite somber, but it gets under your skin in a very, very beautiful way. There's this haunting piano theme that just breaks my heart every time I hear it.
Yeah.
It's so simple, but it carries all the weight of Sullivan's guilt and love for his son. I think the Irish influences Newman weaves in give this whole kind of folkloric, almost mythic quality, like we're hearing an ancient tragic ballad. There's pipes and penny whistles. They don't feel forced or obvious. It's not like we're in Boston, so we have to hear those kind of like Irish flavors.
Dropkick Murphys coming in.
Dropkick Murphys, but they just add a layer of melancholy that makes everything feel just a bit more timeless. Yeah. And what I love is Newman's restraint. He knows when to pull back and let the silence do the work. In those quiet moments between Michael and his son, the absence of music becomes just as powerful as the presence of it. It never oversells the emotion. And it captures the film's tone just great. It's mournful without being manipulative. You must feel like this.
Yeah.
Beautiful without being sentimental. I think it enhances the visual poetry of whole cinematography without competing with it. But it does a bloody good job of enhancing it.
It really does.
It's not showy or memorable in ways some scores are, but it's deeply affecting. It's very subtle. I think he understands that the story is about love and loss, not guns and violence, and his music reflects that. One of those scores that you don't really notice until you try to imagine the film without it, then you realize that it's absolutely essential for the whole experience.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful stuff. What about you, Westy?
Yeah, I bought this score the day after I saw the film. Straight on CD, bought that because I kind of just wanted to experience it more. And you can see this music, you can see the textures.
It's visual, yeah.
You can see the color palette, you can see how it all works. It's not too sentimental, like you said, Luke, and it's a great use of atmosphere on some moments. There's a final shootout with Rooney, and that's just pure atmosphere. That's got nothing to it. Then the strings come in and you start to get this melody that seems familiar, but then it's just lost on the wind. I think a lot of this just feels like it's coming past you and you experience it as it happens, but you can't stick it in your head.
Yeah.
So every time I listen to this soundtrack, and I listen to it quite a few times just independently of the film, and it does evoke all of this emotion, but it's just like a fleeting moment. It doesn't stay with you. It doesn't kind of hammer itself home, and you go, well, where you just go, but the end of Road to Perdition, what does it go like? And you just go, oh, I know what it feels like.
Yeah,
I can't really tell you what it sounds like, but I know exactly how it feels. And I think that's the point. I think it's really, really hard to do. And Thomas Newman is made a career off that. So yeah, it's emotional without being cheesy, without hammering it down your throat. And to be able to support them visuals, he doesn't really need to do much. And I think he does more than's absolutely necessary to bring that to life, and he really does a good job.
Yes, he does. Great job. What about you, Matt? Thoughts on the music?
Just complete agreement, really. It's very gentle for the most part. It is very subtle. It mixes in elements of folk music, but also elements of noir when the mood of the film darkens. And
Brilliant.
it's one way it is tricky to talk about it because it's not, overflowing with earworms, which this one isn't, but it serves the film. If the scene is melancholic, Newman nails it. If the scene is tense, Newman nails it. If the scene is lighthearted, Newman nails it. And it's over the film in a very subtle manner where it doesn't grab your attention, but if it wasn't there, you would miss it. Even the most memorable ones like Road to Chicago, which is just that simple piano riff. It's simple.
Oh, yeah.
It's not massively over-egged, but it really works. I mean, Maguire's theme, all it is are those like dissonant strings which sound a bit off. Nothing huge and booming, but it really works.
Yeah, it really does.
Maguire's theme sounds like what Williams did with Home Alone. That din diddle din din.
It's very really playful. Yeah, it really is.
And that makes you really off center.
Yeah, it does. Thomas Newman came on board after Mendes drafted him in for American Beauty, so they'd built up that simpatico relationship.
Yeah.
And that's why he wanted him for this.
To evoke Road to Perdition's 1930s Prohibition era Chicago setting, Newman incorporated subtle Irish sounds like we've talked about into the fabric of his score.
Yeah.
Pipes, penny whistles, and mandolins are often woven through the film, making a marriage of the old country with the new country, Ireland and America.
Yeah, it really works well.
Yeah.
Newman wrote almost 2 hours of music for the film. Somewhat overkill for me, considering this is just under 2 hours. You can't have all music.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But Mendes only wound up using about 30 minutes of it sparingly and perfectly.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Thomas Newman doesn't flex his muscles or outstay his welcome with his music, but he certainly adds to the texture of the film.
Yes.
Finally on our crew list, a legendary cinematographer.
Mm-hmm.
One of the greatest in his field. It is Conrad Hall, bowing out beautifully.
Yeah.
Westy, over to you. Conrad Hall cinematography.
I mean, this is the culmination of a full career and a very, very, very talented man who had everything, who did everything and had everything in his locker. And I don't think there's anything in this film that he didn't use that he's learned in his long career. He's not left anything out. And at the same time, he doesn't overuse anything. It's a portfolio of work in 2 hours. It's a portfolio of his life, of what he's learned. One of the moments I paused was one that you'll easily miss. And it's after John and Connor have that bit where he's beating him down and curse the day you were born, right? And then it cuts to the doorway. It's that searcher shot. And it cuts to the doorway and Michael Jr. is just standing in the yard and he's got the suitcase. And just pause that moment because he's framed in the doorway. He's lit from the side. The way that Michael's lit without knowing where the light's coming from. Then he moves the camera. Then he puts Sullivan in the frame. Then he pushes forward and actually moves with it. It doesn't need to be that good. This shot doesn't need to be that well thought through or that well executed. There's not a frame in this that isn't absolutely impeccable. I don't really know what else to say about it because you watch it in black and white and it works. Watch it without dialogue and it works. For me, the dialogue's getting in the way of this film most of the time because it is just so visually stunning and so beautifully executed. I mean, to put the Vertigo shot in the halfway section of a film to introduce a villain character,
that's
but do it in a way that people haven't really seen it before. And you don't look at that and go, oh, it's Jaws or it's Vertigo.
No,
you look at that and go, fuck, I've never seen that before. And that was his version of it. That's what he's learned. There's such a varnish over this whole film. Such a meticulous attention to detail. It's hard not to love this in the way that it celebrates cinema as a visual medium. It pulled me in more than any other film had at that time. And I'd seen a lot of films up to that point, 2002.
Yeah.
This really pulled me in and just said, this is like walking around a museum, and every painting that you look at is one that resonates with you and one that you want to see. And each one gets better as you move through the museum. And then you leave and you go out in the daylight and you think, I just want to go back in.
Wow.
You see him interviewed, he was so humble. And if I was producing a film like this, even if it was my last film, I would be an absolute dick until I died.
Love that honesty, Westy.
How can you not be what a masterpiece?
Yeah, one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah.
What do you think, Matt? Conrad Hall's work?
I just want to contrast it to American Beauty, really, because that film, it's so vibrant. That red in particular really pops off the screen, the way he uses that. And then this, which is so muted, it's so elegant. It's like the music in that it's all about serving the atmosphere, serving the story, not overwhelming it. When the camera moves, it moves in a very measured way. And if it ever moves quickly, it's startling, but then it should be startling. It provokes the emotional response in you. It's got this wintry, melancholic feel to it, the subdued browns and blacks that this entire film is filtered through. The use of shadow, even when it's light, it's not broad daylight, like say it's that wintry light instead. It's just so integral to what this film should feel like. And it's what we said about the music, it's texture. Conrad Hall gives this film the texture. And I think the look of this film, it is the one thing that I take away from this more than anything else.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's artwork, this.
It is.
Visual storytelling at its most beautiful, most elegant. The way he uses shadow and light, obviously masterful. Characters are constantly emerging from darkness or disappearing into it, which perfectly mirrors the ambiguity of the story.
Yeah.
The colour palette, desaturated, that works brilliant because everything feels just drained of life, bereft of hope, which reflects Sullivan's emotional state. And when you do get the occasional splashes of colour, it's usually blood. And they hit like a gut punch.
Yeah.
And it's his composition work. He frames characters in doorways and windows, empty spaces around them, like you were saying, that Search's shot, Westy, which just creates a sense of isolation. Even when people are in the same room, they feel miles apart. Completely different to that, on the other side of the scale, those Chicago skyline shots make the city feel magnificent and oppressive at the same time, like a concrete jungle where violence echoes through the streets. He does that with one shot without any dialogue. Incredible. And there's not a single throwaway shot. He may be very modest and say, oh, that was just a happy accident or something like that. Nothing was just, right, okay, cut, print, let's move on. Everything's measured, everything's considered, everything's important, everything means something.
Yeah.
I mean, Hall at the peak of his powers when he was an old man.
Yeah.
But one of the finest examples of his work.
Yeah. It's a master at work.
Mendes, as you said, Matt, he'd built up a relationship with Conrad Hall, who shot American Beauty. He managed to get him on board with this film by sending him the script with a note that said, a man lives his life in black and white, but dreams in colour. He loved that.
Nice.
Wow.
Straight in there.
Yeah.
Trying to steal that.
What was that again, man?
What was that again? Put chiseled on my gravestone.
And Mendes and Hall travelled to each prospective Illinois shooting location. They would spend hours walking around with a viewfinder, discussing how each building or street corner might be used to maximise dramatic effect.
For Perdition's colour palette, Hall proposed a stark, nearly monochromatic scheme of desaturated earth tones, shadow-streaked blacks and washed-out greys. Reds and oranges were to be used sparingly, like you said, Luke, with the blood. That really works.
Yeah.
And only to signal danger, like you said, bloodshed.
Yeah, and that really works because when you see that, it really impacts.
And costume designer Albert Walsky and his team were encouraged to keep the costumes within a grim spectrum of charcoal greys, mossy greens and sepia-toned browns. The various pinstripe and three-piece gangster suits were tailored from fabric specially woven and dyed to maintain the intended subdued look.
The costumes for the film were specifically created. None of them are from the period.
Right.
Yeah.
There's legitimacy in that work. It looks amazing.
Mendes and Hall studied, as we've talked about, The Godfather, Miller's Crossing, and Once Upon a Time in America to deconstruct how those films use shadow and negative space to generate unease and dread.
Yeah. I love that even though Conrad Hall was one of the first names in cinematography, he's still looking at things that came after him to inform what he does.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
And he also drew heavily from the work of artist Edward Hopper, to establish the film's somber, shadowy aesthetic. Mendes was particularly influenced by Hopper's use of light and shadow to convey characters' inner emotional states, and that was a technique he applied to the character of Michael Sullivan.
So yeah, the 1939 Hopper painted New York movie depicting a pensive usher shrouded in darkness was a key visual touchstone for Mendes in suggesting Sullivan's hidden emotional journey.
Yeah.
Mendes said, in that one image, you begin to imagine what's on the other side of the frame. In other words, what's important is what's off camera.
Yeah. Seeking to create a palpable sense of danger and corruption through visual means, Hall employed his trademark dirty lighting techniques. He aimed lamps directly into the lens, causing light to flare across actors' faces and reflect off Rain Street windows and puddle-strewn streets.
Oh, that creates so much atmosphere.
Oh, it really does, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Conrad Hall's legendary work brings with it a legendary question from a patron. This is our second of the day. This one is from Daniel Holland. Hello, Daniel.
Hello, Daniel.
Daniel said, "Hi, fellas. Long-time listener, first-time caller." Great.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Conrad Hall's cinematography often lets scenes play out in shadow or soft light. How does this visual approach shape your emotional response to the story? And do you think the Edward Hopper influence is the right look for the film? Great to have your question, Daniel. Thank you, and a cracking one that it is.
Yes, lovely.
What are your thoughts on Daniel's question?
I mean, yeah, I think it's absolutely the right look for the film because this isn't a bombastic film. So it can't look as bombastic as something like The Untouchables does, even though it's obviously the same time period. It shouldn't look as epic as something like Once Upon a Time in America because this is a much more intimate film. You know, it is very widescreen, but it's also about huddled conversations on church pews and in diners in the middle of the night. You know, it's melancholic, and I think that's where you get in this work. And I think what Hall does is he keeps me slightly removed from it in that emotional sense. I think that's how he shapes my emotional response to the story, because this isn't a film that makes you want to cry. It makes you want to feel somber, and I think that's what Hall does.
Yeah, I think what's brilliant about it is how it mirrors the moral ambiguity of the story. When characters are literally shrouded in darkness, we're never quite sure what they're thinking or feeling. Take that scene where Sullivan sits in his car outside the church. Half his face is in shadow, half in light. Visual storytelling, we've been talking about it. A man torn between his violent nature and his desire for redemption.
Yeah.
And the soft lighting creates this kind of dreamlike, almost memory-like quality to the scenes. It makes everything feel slightly unreal, which is, I think, perfect because it's a story being told in retrospect by Michael Jr. as an adult.
Yeah.
We're seeing these events through the filter of time and trauma, so that ethereal quality feels emotionally honest. I like that. And yeah, I mean, I don't know much about the art scene, but I'm aware of Hopper's work. It appeals to me, and it fits very nicely for the film. He generally depicts late-night loners and empty streets, a perfect visual to carry the narrative of the film, that kind of existential loneliness. Despite Michael being surrounded by his family, he's emotionally cut off from him, and I think that is emphasized by the visuals and the influence of Hopper as well. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, it just has that intimacy to it. I think a lot of Hopper's paintings do have that intimacy to them, even if they are wide shots. You're kind of diving into what's that character thinking, what's their motivations. And it's Hopper's use of shadow as well, I think, really works and it's really translated here. Light and shadow does kind of bounce off each other. There's a duality to the cinematography. There's a duality to the whole film.
Nice.
There's a light and dark, up and down. There's a chiaroscuro to it, which really, really works. And I think Hopper buys into that 100%. The most I get from the cinematography in this and the look and the shape of the emotion is that it's a character in itself. It creates this own world that has an authenticity to it, but you don't care if that authenticity is carried further in by the characters. And what I mean by that, I'll give you an example.
Go for it.
In this time period, every single man who walked into a room, walked into a house, walked into a building would remove the hat. It's suspicious if you don't. We don't care about that, because it looks better, it works better for the film, it's through the child's eyes. We're not bothered about that level of authenticity because you're getting such a level of authenticity through the cinematography, through the light and through the feel of the period. You don't want it to be too real. Try and do this again, it's impossible.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's striking. Absolutely striking work.
Yeah.
So an outstanding crew, great writing, the understated beauty of the music, but it's all overshadowed naturally by Conrad Hall's outstanding cinematography. Yet again, another fitting swan song.
Yes.
Yeah.
The end.
The Sullivan bank robbing spree doesn't last long, with the accountant pulling the plug on Chicago's money. I guess we should pay a visit to this Mr. Rance, Westy.
We should. Yes, Mr. Rance. He is great.
He's fantastic.
It's really comic performance. I would like an egg. I would like it runny. It's like, what is this? It's just, it's very, very good. I love that performance. It is brilliant. And here there's a great build of tension. There's some great setups, some great payoffs. And this is where I was talking about the sound design. That teletype machine starts going.
Oh, it's great.
You know that Maguire's coming over the road. You're disguised from the sound of the horn. He's then coming up the stairs. You can hear the horn still going outside. You don't quite know what's going to happen. When's he going to come in? Rance then just runs into that other room. Gunshots go off. Before that, even Maguire doesn't notice because the car's painted. And then he's obviously paying the woman in the hotel room, so he's distracted. And that's when Michael goes in. So everything's got a moment. Everything kind of makes perfect sense from a staging level.
Yeah.
Really well constructed, really well staged. And then the gunshots going through the wall, you just think, well, how did Rance die? Oh, yeah, obviously there's them gunshots going through the wall. That makes sense. But this is the kind of the beginning of the end for Michael Sullivan, I think, because Maguire is still hired at this point. He still has a job to do. And this is where it gets personal, because you forget about Maguire after the sequence.
You do.
You look at these hands, you just don't see what's going on. It's not really hit home enough. You're focused on Sullivan getting shot and him getting better. Then there's one last thing to do. There's two huge scenes coming up. And then it comes back. This one kind of skips past them two scenes and has a real kind of arc and a real moral arc and a really regrettable one. And it's great because this is set up in such a way where it feels like a finale, where you have films where they get shot and then the bad guy disappears. And I think it's great that they play on that and that comes back later on to haunt him. And it's one of their moments where I don't even think he just wanted them out of the way. He just wants the files. If they could have just had a conversation, Maguire has been like, look, I'm going to kill Rooney. This is all going to be over with. I get the files. You can just leave. I'll pay you the money. I've got the money here. If that's all you want. So it becomes a real personal vendetta because of what Michael does. And it's heartbreaking when you see this scene for the second time, third time you watch it, knowing for a fact that it is setting something up that is unavoidable.
Yeah, I really like that the scenes after this, like you said, are larger than life, bigger than this scene, even though this scene is huge. Yeah. So this character, you forget about him.
He slides into the shadows and then that's it.
Exactly. And then, and then you're like, oh, of course.
Yeah.
How can we forget about this guy?
Yeah, exactly.
And in the scene where Maguire is stalking up to the Geneva Hotel across the road with a shotgun under his coat, there's a store that looks like it's been done out to look like from the period. But in actual fact, it's actually a Starbucks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, production took it over for 4 days, shut it down, ran the craft food services out of it for the cast and crew, and retained all the Starbucks staff to make coffees for everybody on set.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Andy?
Starbucks.
Yeah, Starbucks. Now, Michael gets out of there alive, but he is badly injured, shot. And this sequence afterwards feels a little contrived and by the numbers for me. I love it, but I also have quite a few problems with this scene. Soon as he passes out, they very fortuitously find a farm with some very friendly residents. And one of them can remove bullets, which is all very pleasant, isn't it? How handy.
Yeah.
We've seen this nursing back to health scene a million times. It feels paint by number. It's like Witness. We've seen it many times. But what doesn't feel like paint by number is an absolutely stunning scene. Father and son around the table, finally acting like father and son.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore it, but it's almost as if that montage scene that I said before, Westy, didn't happen because of the way that Michael Sr. treats Michael Jr. in this scene.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't know him.
Exactly. It starts off very formal. Michael Jr.'s had a bad dream. Take a seat if you want. He sees that his dad is doing math. He says that he hates it. And what follows is a conversation that just appears to be between two strangers. He asks him, so what do you like at school? What did you like? I mean, why doesn't he know this? He has been on, and they have been up to some form of joviality when he's been teaching them how to drive and robbing banks and all that kind of stuff. But it's a beautiful scene. It's heartbreaking because Michael Jr., he says he likes Bible reading at school because he likes the stories, just very childlike.
Yeah.
And then the emotion starts to tumble into the scene because he asks his dad if he liked Peter more than him. And he said he was different with him. And he is the big emotional pull. Peter was such a sweet boy, but you were more like me and I didn't want you to be.
Yeah.
He's being cold and unapproachable, Michael Sr., towards his son because he didn't want to follow the same path, and now we understand. I don't think that Michael Jr. quite understands the reasoning, but he understands that his father has just opened up to him emotionally. probably for the first time in his life.
Mm-hmm.
And then a completely arresting moment, devastating. Michael Jr. gives his dad a hug.
Yeah.
Something that should feel like the most natural thing in the world takes Michael Sr. completely off guard. My heart drops. It's such a beautiful moment.
It is,
Yeah.
That is a perfect cap on that scene. It was a great scene without it, but that is just a beautifully judged moment. Poignant. Someone's chopping onions here. Incredible stuff.
Thing. It's a beautiful thing.
It really is.
And then after this, you get the scene which builds up to probably the most quoted scene in the film as well, which is really in the church and then the basement. And I think there's always something really evocative about people like Rooney who have built an empire on bloodshed, lived a brutal life, but they also take their religion and faith very seriously. He's not there at the church to play lip service. His faith is real. And if his faith is real, then he's a very conflicted man because he knows what he's done. And he can pray all he likes for forgiveness, but as much as the Catholic doctrine is, God will always forgive. What if he makes an exception? Because if he's going to make an exception, it's going to be for someone like John Rooney. And I think that subtle fear and conflict is very, very palpable in Newman's performance and in this scene because he's not sat there head bowed and praying. It looks more to me like he's lost in his own thoughts, like what he's done is beyond redemption. So what's the point in prayer? And he knows the end is coming from soon because he's an old man.
Lovely.
And then after Michael reveals he sat behind him, you get the scene in the basement. And it's a scene where really I just want to quote every single line of dialogue because it's scintillating stuff.
Oh, that's great.
He murdered Annie and Peter. There were only murderers in this room. It's mind-blowing how good the dialogue is. You know, the line we've come back to again because, you know, we have the question about, you know, this is the life we choose, the life we lead. Just wonderful stuff. And, and again, this point has been made over and over again. It's not about revenge. It's about saving Michael Jr. from going down the same road of his father. But just when you watch Newman and Hanks going head-to-head here, you can almost see Hanks having to elevate his game just to keep up with Newman. I mean, Hanks is generally a better actor than everyone else in the film, so I kind of feel sometimes he doesn't have to try that hard to be great, except in this scene, because he's not quite as good as Paul Newman, but he's going to raise his game to try and keep up with them as much as he can, and it ends up the two of them at their very best.
Yeah.
Oh, peak Hanks, peak Newman.
Absolutely, it is.
Amazing.
I love that notion of blood is thicker than water, and that's completely evident in this scene. No matter how bad Connor behaves, no matter what he does to damage his reputation, to damage his life, he'll always stick with him because he's blood. Yeah, love that.
It's just, you know, I'll mourn the son that I've lost.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Wow, yeah, that's great. So with Michael's final olive branch snapped off, he has no alternative than to turn into an angel of vengeance. Michael dusts off his old faithful and prepares to do battle one last time. One last thing, and then it's done.
Yeah.
Oh, and what a one last thing it is.
Yeah.
John Rooney and all of his men enter the rain-drenched streets. The rain beating down on the road so hard it looks like they're lost at sea, which... Of course they are. A blanket of blackness surrounds their existence in glorious slow-mo. Mendes has turned into John Woo as it's revealed the driver's been plugged. And they're all sitting ducks. John knows what's happening immediately, and you can see that he's accepted his fate. He knows it's coming.
Yeah.
And the music is almost like a ghostly lullaby as the flash of light from the gun slashes through the darkness, cutting Rooney's men to ribbons. It's balletic violence, no blood. The strings swell as Michael confronts John. One resigned look and then, I'm glad it's you. Oh, dear me, this is poetry in motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And the pain on Michael's face. He knows what he has to do, but it's killing him.
Yeah.
But by doing this, he does sever the ties between the old and the new world, which offers a better life for his son. Obviously, thematically relevant. We've talked about it. The shots of people looking out of their windows as well, as if they're casting judgment over Michael. He's truly going to hell now.
Yeah.
But it was worth it for his family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A stunning scene.
Oh, it's astonishing. If you listen to Mendes on the commentary, he said he just couldn't get this right. He couldn't cut it right. It wasn't working. He didn't know why it wasn't working. He came back to it a few days later. and it was when he cut all of the sound out on the dub, which was a bit of an accident because they played it back without the sound.
Oh, wow.
And they thought, oh, shit, right, that totally works now, then let's just put the score over it.
Amazing.
And the way that score is silenced by the Tommy gun, and it just cuts above it, and the way the tanks looks down, you know he's falling, and looks back up. It's an incredible piece of work, this. It's just unbelievably good.
Outstanding.
It is. It is.
And originally, the scene was scripted to be set in an empty chapel, and it was actually shot, but Mendes felt that something was missing. So this then motivated the scene to be shot on the rain-drenched streets, and Mendes said he was able to take advantage of the blurry halos of street lamps, and as he said, the inky void of the night sky to create a more ominous existential mood.
Great line. Inky void of the night sky.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the whole scene was shot over 4 nights. It required 32 timed squib detonations, a techno crane capable of rising 6 stories, and half a dozen rain machines working at full blast.
Wow.
And it's still one of the most beautifully relaxing, heartbreaking meditations I've ever seen in cinema.
It's just captivating.
It's like watching a bride cry.
Got much experience of that, Westy?
Wow.
Shot 200 weddings, mate. I've seen it, Lord.
Get that on the poster. It's like watching a bride cry. Westy.
So then after this, there's one more person Michael's got to take care of. And we know this has been coming. And what's been interesting is throughout this, we've all said there's like one scene in the film we have a slight issue with, and this one's mine.
Okay.
Because I think it's set up brilliantly. That phone call with Nitti, giving up Connor is going to end the feud. And I love the look on the faces of the bodyguards as they just let Michael through the hotel, knowing what he's going to do, because it's like, yeah, you know what, Connor deserves it. He's been an absolute asshole back there. So, you know, I'm actually quite glad.
He's got a backstage pass, hasn't he? It's great.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's great.
But the issue I have is it's the one part where I think Mendes is being too restrained and too artful for his own good. It looks incredible, the way that the door swings back to show Connor's reflection in the mirror, now that Michael has shot him and he was just in the bath. But it's the one bit where I want an emotional release, and I don't get it. You know, this guy murdered Michael's wife and youngest boy. You want the moment of revenge, and you don't get it. It's very dispassionate. And I know there's an argument for that. The Michael's just like, whatever, I've had to kill his father. This guy means nothing to me. But all the same, that's his personal choice, and that's fine. But my reaction is personal. In my reaction is this feels like an afterthought. And I'm not saying he has to be like slugging him around the hotel room or anything like that. But if you go back to the graphic novel in this scene, when Michael has Connor at gunpoint, Connor says, "I'll see you in hell." And Michael's reply is, "Hell will be heaven if I can spend eternity making you pay for what you did to her." Now that's a magnificent line. That's what I want from this scene. Yeah. Why is that line not here?
Yeah, I can't fathom why that line's not there.
It's amazing line dialogue.
Yeah, that makes the scene.
It does, yeah.
So from there, it's a happy ending, isn't it? We're absolutely fine.
Oh, yeah, they've even got a dog.
Yeah.
They've got a dog there. I told you there was a dog. It's that driving. His head's out the window. Mike Sullivan has completely let his guard down. His collar's open. He's grown his hair a little bit more. He's just, you know, his shirt's untucked. His waistcoat's not fastened. He's ready to just call it a day, and that's it. He's ready to settle down, and we're all ready to settle down with him. And I love that moment where they're walking across the beach, and it's beautiful. But then he says, "Is that the house?" I say, "Oh, I fucking hope so, because there's nothing else around here."
Why are we here otherwise?
For absolutely miles. It's like, no, there's 3 more down the bottom, which would normally be quite realistic. No, that's not the house. It's that little one that we can afford down there. But yeah, it's great. I just love that, the way it's set up, and it's done in such a joyful way, because we are at once in probably the most brightest scene in the film. And it does feel almost overexposed after everything else we've seen.
It's like Michael Mann, isn't it?
Yeah, it rolls you into a false sense of security. And, you know, it's a beach scene, but we're forgetting we've seen Sullivan Jr. on the beach at the very start, looking over the water. We've forgotten about that. We've forgotten about a lot of things, which are going to come back to haunt in a minute. And there's that tracking through the house, and he shouts, "We're here, Sarah," and there's just that amazing reflected shot where Mike Sullivan's looking out, and then you see him waving, and it's just that pang, and it's just so heartbreakingly beautifully played out. And I think it's Hanks just trying to hang on and not fall to the floor. And then when he does, you just see that reveal of that shadowy figure, and just the camera getting picked up, and you think, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" You just think, "Why did I forget about that? Why did I let me guard down?" And it does it to the audience, because you let your guard down as soon as he does. And as soon as he does, he's punished for it. And then when you see that smile and he takes the picture, he's just the most loathsome character.
Yeah, he is horrific.
And you think you're benefiting from this moment. And you're just invested in the Sullivans at this point. You just think, yes, we're going to get there. And now we have this sledgehammer from Mendes. Junior's got a gun. Right, Mike Sullivan, don't do it. Oh, don't do it. You know, go on, give us the gun back, give us the gun back. And there's probably, this is the one shot that I really dislike in the film. And it kind of pulls us out. Is when that trigger's pulled and the gun goes off. And you get that shot of Maguire, you get that shot of Jude Law. Just, and it's slow motion, but it's like a strange kind of slow motion. It doesn't really feel like it fits. And I think if you've got Conrad Hall there, there's a couple of ways to shoot that. So it has an ambiguity about who pulled the trigger and what happened. And I think that just happens a little bit fast. And he falls to the floor, and you know for a fact that Michael's pulled the trigger. In the end, you get that line, I couldn't do it. I know.
Yeah.
And I almost said, I know, we know, everyone fucking knows. So I couldn't do it. Yeah, okay, did we really have to put that in? So you could have shot that, you don't know who pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just so quickly swept away. Like, don't worry, guys, I couldn't do it, I know.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's tied up in a nice little bow, isn't it?
It is tied up in a little bit. It is nice and it's fine. I think that's in 2002, that's what audiences needed. And I think someone like Spielberg's going, you know, you need to kind of just make sure that's emphasized.
Yeah,
because
probably,
we could lose some money here if you don't make that a little bit more obvious. And it made its money back and it really hits home, and that's absolutely fine. But it's that return to the farm for me and that voiceover.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I do love the reveal of the scarred face of Harlan Maguire.
It's that smile.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
It is.
And Mendes instructed Jude Law to play Maguire's death as if he were the Wicked Witch of the West from The Wizard of Oz, slowly sinking out of existence rather than expiring suddenly.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a great fall to the floor. I love that that reverse shot.
Yes, a fitting ending, and here's another fitting ending. Our third and final Patreon question.
Okay.
This comes from Rob Ball. Hello, Rob.
Hello, Rob.
Hello, Rob.
Rob says, is there a movie that makes you feel more hollow and sad at the end of it? The son is safe and perhaps will have a new family, but the most important people in his life are gone, and he has a terrible secret at the center of his life. Oof. Yes, Rob. Yes, indeed. A gut punch. Westy, I'm certain you've got a number of gut punches in your holster.
A plethora.
A plethora.
Why do you say I have a plethora? Yeah,
We're
three amigos.
Three amigos.
We are.
Brilliant.
Yes, El Vapo. There's too many to really mention, but I've gone for the top three hard hitters.
Okay.
One that's not as hard because it's one of my favorite films of all time, but I also find it quite hollow and quite rewarding. I mean, it's a really rewarding film, and you know that it's going to happen. But the end of the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford
There we go.
is hollow. It's sad. It's reflective. And that voiceover is just incredibly poignant. You know, they're not going to pay 15 cents to stand in the rooms he grew up in. He's nothing. It's failure. And that was it. And then just the way he gets shot and the way that stage is beautifully done. Shot by Deakins. Nothing else to say about that apart from... it finishes and I go back and watch it again. One that I can never watch. Well, there's two I can never watch again, actually. The first one that I was on the floor in a ball in fetal position sobbing was Dancer in the Dark.
Oh wow.
Lars von Trier. I can't revisit that. I can't go back to that. I can't think about that very much. Absolutely shattering. But then again, it's a Lars von Trier film. What do you want?
What do you expect?
But Bjork's in it. There's a bit of dancing. I thought he might have just mellowed slightly, but fuck me, was I wrong? Yeah. And the last one for me that was so hard to bear was The Mist.
That ended.
Yeah,
that ending is just shattering. But again, I mean, it's brilliantly executed. All these are brilliantly executed and brilliant films, two of which I'll never see again, and one that I watch, as often as I can, really. But yeah, if you haven't seen them, I mean, just prepare yourself.
Yeah. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I've got three as well. First one, I'm going to say The Fly, because that's the way that I always forget, like whenever I go and watch that again, it ends with Veronica, the Gina Davis character, obviously killing Seth, Jeff Goldblum's character, to put him out of his misery. And Goldblum is brilliant in that film. Like, you never ever doubt that's still Seth underneath all the, the disgusting special effects. And it's got that thing where the monster is tragic and you feel sorry for him throughout. And this is the thing, she kills him and then cut the credits. It's like, well, yeah there you go.
Deal with that.
Deal with that. Wow. So yeah, that one. A film I've already mentioned, went on about favourite quotes, but Dead Man's Shoes. Again, that mission of revenge he goes on, he gets it, but
At what cost?
At what cost to him?
Yeah.
You know, you get that feeling at the end. And one that I've mentioned on a Patreon episode recently, I won't go into it too much because it's still quite recent, so I'm a bit wary about spoilers, but After Sun, that has got last 5 minutes that will just knock you off your feet. Yeah. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But be prepared.
Bleak. Bleak. Mm-hmm. On this question, I thought about Mystic River, because we've talked about it recently on Double Feature.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a devastating film that just shows the ripple effect when something life-changing happens in the community and the impact. Poor Celeste, played by Marcia Gay Harden. She's left with nothing by the end. Oh,
just a lot of exhale in here, guys. Get your breathing in.
Hope you're happy, Rob.
He's the biggest exhale of them all.
Oh, God.
Here we go.
One that came to mind immediately and left me bereft. Absolutely bereft. Hollowed out. I was not Luke anymore. It is Manchester by the Sea.
Yeah.
The title sounds quite playful. It's a little fun seaside town.
Yeah.
Oh no! There's an emotional dread, like just all over, just imposing itself on the film.
Yeah.
Casey Affleck's character carries this unbearable secret and guilt, and the film holds back for so long that you're desperate to find out the source of his pain. But then it's revealed, and you wish it wasn't.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrific. It'll have to be a good reason to revisit that film again for me. Fantastic film and all of that, but fuck me.
Not going on a classic anytime soon, is it? Not going on a Paul.
I'm not watching that now.
No.
But thank you very much for the question, Rob. A fitting ending.
Yes, we're going to sleep well tonight. Yeah.
Yes. So we've lived a lifetime on the road in the winter of 1931. Was Michael Sullivan a good man, or was there no good in him at all? One thing is for certain. He was a father.
Yes.
Reception and awards.
After a 72-day shoot, Mendes and his editing team were left with a mammoth 7 months in the cutting room, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. Of the scenes that didn't make the cut were the Capone one that was mentioned earlier.
And there was also a deeper backstory with Jennifer Jason Leigh's character Annie, in particular her role in protecting the boys from the life of crime that their father leads. But that got cut because Mendes felt it slowed the pace too much, which is a shame. Like I say, we need more JGL.
We need more Jennifer. Yes, absolutely.
And finally, a scene that Mendes agonised over was one that had Michael Jr. confessing his dad's sins to a priest.
Ah, yes.
That played just before Senior dies. Mendes felt it blunted the ending's impact.
As discussed, probably a little too on the nose.
Yeah, I think so.
Bit,
Yeah.
Road to Perdition was originally slated to be released in the winter of 2001, but Mendes requested more time and set his sights on a July 2002 release. An odd choice for a film of this nature to go up against the likes of Men in Black 2, Minority Report, Gold Member.
I know which one I'm watching first, which one's going on afterwards.
Gold Member.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Mendes saw it as an opportunity to separate from the pack, a move which proved successful on a big-time $80 million budget, which is big. Road to Perdition returned a healthy $296 million, ending up as the 16th highest grossing film of the year, which is just not happening in this day and age.
Definitely not.
No.
And it wasn't just box office figures that were impressive. Reviewers largely waxed lyrical about the film.
Richard Corliss in Time magazine said, brilliantly photographed, meticulously directed, and acted with utter confidence. It's a movie in which every note seems perfectly pitched.
High praise.
Yeah.
And Empire gave it 4 out of 5, saying, "This is supremely crafted, grown-up movie making that never escapes its pulp origins. The themes are well-worn and the structure predictable, but these are gangster cliches as gift-wrapped by Fortnum and Mason, and the grandeur of the film slips down like fine caviar."
Ah, fantastic.
Exactly.
Don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
And our triumph, the big man himself, Big Roger Ebert, what do you think he gave it out of 4?
3.
3.
3? Third time's a charm, you got it.
All right.
He hailed it as a masterful and eloquent film by a director who understands that action is the character, but also said that he felt emotionally detached from the characters at times, saying, "I knew I admired it, but I didn't know if I liked it."
Yeah.
It is cold and holds us outside.
Right. That's what I was
think you said
getting
that at the top, Westy.
Not a love and admiration, I think, yeah.
Very much. And now Road to Perdition has 82% on Rotten Tomatoes and an IMDb score of 7.6 out of 10.
Sadly, Conrad Hall died around 7 months after the release of the film. His final work of art, a fitting way to go out. He posthumously was awarded the Best Cinematography Oscar. Mendes picked it up on his behalf.
And choking back the tears in the speech, he paid tribute to a career that began in black and white and ended in a blaze of colour. And if you watch it on YouTube, you can see in the audience Hanks and Newman are watching on very tearfully.
Oh,
No surprise. Yeah.
beautiful.
Nah, no surprise.
The Road to Perdition was nominated in 5 other categories at the Oscars: sound editing, sound, original score, art direction, and supporting actor. Paul Newman.
Lovely callback that.
Love it.
Paul Newman.
Clever. But alas, it missed out on all of them. The winners that year, it was well balanced. Can you remember what won Best Picture?
2002.
Chicago.
Oh, yes. Well done, Matt. Yeah, that won Best Picture. Polanski won for Best Director for The Pianist. I mean, those two decisions, I'm certain, if we had a redo, they would be made differently.
Yeah, it would be something
Chicago
different.
Best
Yeah.
Picture, Polanski Best Director.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
So in the busy summer months of 2002, Road to Perdition stood head and shoulders above most of its contemporaries and even got some justified awards recognition, despite being released 6 or 7 months before award season, a testament to the staying power of the film.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sequels and influence.
Despite the graphic novel having many follow-ups, nothing has materialised on the big screen in the shape of a sequel. So what of the film's influence and legacy in the years since its release, Westy? Where do you stand on that?
I think we saw a few very similar types of films. Gangster Squad.
Oh, God, yeah.
Came out and failed. And I think
Devastating, that one.
Public
Yeah,
Enemies
failed.
came out and didn't do as well. And I honestly think if Conrad Hall had lived longer and he was maybe 5 years younger and he did this film, I think he would have just been right. We need to do a Conrad Hall film.
Yeah.
Much like, what happened with Deakins. Once he got recognised after the Coen Brothers stuff and he's doing Blade Runner, and Blade Runner is like a Villeneuve Deakins joint. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yes.
like because of Deakins, it has an identity now. And Mendes took that, and who was the best person to go to after this? Deakins. So that's, he shot Jarhead with him.
Yeah.
And tried to maintain that. So I think the influences, especially on Sam Mendes, was, the confidence to move forward, but also the importance of cinematography. And I think we've seen a leap massively since the death of Conrad Hall in much improved, much more thought through cinematography throughout cinema, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially moving into the digital age. I think people appreciate it now when they look at it differently. And I think this was the film that made people wake up.
Yeah, fantastic. What about you, Matt?
I'm going to go TV for the first influence. I think Boardwalk Empire. Just the look of
Yes,
that
very much.
series.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Perdition can't claim credit for it being set in that particular time period. It's a fascinating period all the same. But even so, I think Boardwalk Empire just shares a lot of this film's DNA. I think the casting of Hanks, I think that's had an influence because that showed that sometimes you don't always have to cast the obvious choices for stone cold killers or men of violence. So I think even though it's completely tonally different, you get something like Bob Odenkirk in Nobody. It's similar kind of thing. Like, I wouldn't expect him to be that. I think that comes down to Hanks. I find myself saying this quite a lot, but quite a lot of these films, it's about the influence on the director himself. And I think Mendes doing this, as I said at the top, so completely different to American Beauty, and it working for the most part. I just think it gave him the confidence to keep doing that. Because I think looking at his career, the interesting thing about him is, apart from when he came back to do a second Bond film, when he did Spectre, he's never revisited the same genre. He's always moved on to something different, which is what I really like about Mendes. So I think this one working as much as it did probably had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, I think I'm going to repeat quite a few things that you fellas have said. The visual influence, Conrad Hall's cinematography, that's become a template for how to shoot morally ambiguous crime dramas. You can see it all over the likes of The Dark Knight, Blade Runner, Deakins. Like you said, Westy acknowledged studying Road to Perdition's use of light and shadow for that.
Yeah.
And Tom Hanks, he was kind of like an everyman up until this point, but this opened the door to be a little bit more morally ambiguous with his choices. Not over the top, but he certainly made a few more different choices than he was making in the 90s.
Yeah.
Significantly, though, I think Road to Perdition helped prove that comic book adaptations don't have to be about superheroes.
No. Yeah.
Showed Hollywood that graphic novels could be source material for serious adult dramas, things like A History of Violence, for example.
Yeah.
Spielberg called it a permanent masterpiece, and I think that's been proven as well. All of these years on, it's still the gold standard for how to make a beautiful, melancholic crime film that doesn't glamorize violence but examines its true cost. So no sequels, but a wonderful legacy, and as discussed at length, a beautiful way to go out for two legends of the silver screen.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
All the right movies ranking.
We've reached the end of our road, and there's only one guarantee. None of us will escape without giving our final verdict.
No.
This is the world-famous ATRM ranking. Matt, could you summarise and give your score out of 10 for Road to Perdition, please?
It's a really, really beautiful film. It's stunning in so many ways. As we've said, so much of that comes down to Conrad Hall. I think there's a lot of confidence in a lot of ways for Mendes here to do something very different to what he'd previously done. And Newman, as I said, he just signs off with one of his greatest roles. But when I was thinking about this, I was asking myself the question, why don't I watch it more often than I do? And I think, there are some scenes that don't quite work tonally, like the one I mentioned. I don't get the release at the end when he kills Connor that I think I should get. Yeah, I kind of agree with Westy about the montage scene. It feels a little out of place. I mean, Hanks is great, but could that have been pushed a little further? I think maybe. And I think it does come down to what Roger Ebert said in his, I think this is a film to really admire rather than love, and I think that's where I am with it. And we've talked about Edward Hopper a lot, and I think if I had like an Edward Hopper downstairs, I'd just be really glad to know that I have it and it's down there. I wouldn't look at it every day. It would be something where it catches my eye when I'm not expecting it. I'd go, fuck, that's a beautiful, beautiful picture, that. And that's Road to Perdition for me. It's not one I watch a lot because, like I say, it's just a little emotionally distant for me for large parts of it, but it's a beautiful thing nonetheless, so it's an 8.5 for me.
Still a thoroughly decent score.
Yeah.
What about you, Westy?
Really tough one for me, this, to be honest, because there is so much admiration from it that I don't know whether that overshadows parts of what a film should be. And when we look at the other films that are on the board and films that I've give top marks to, and they are just perfect films for me all the way through. And I would find it quite hard to argue with somebody over the montage sequence. I found it quite hard when Matt was saying about the Lexington Hotel. I'm like, yeah, that's right. You are right. It does have flaws. I mean, if I was going on cinematography, this would be 20 out of 10.
Oh, of course.
It's easily one of the best films I've ever seen visually. And watch it in black and white as well if you haven't. I know I keep banging on about that, but it's a completely different experience and it's a wonderful thing. So I'm not going to tell people how to do it. I've got methods of, changing saturation on my television. All televisions are different. So I don't want people getting in touch with me going, me telly's now fucked and I'm watching everything in Spanish or something. So that's up to you if you want to do that. But again, it just has that layer, and that layer, unfortunately, is visual. And it's not content-wise, and I love the sentiment. I love that. I love the way that's played out. I always tear up at the end because I have a son who's 9 years old, and I have that kind of relationship, and it really works, that father-son dynamic, and it's really well addressed in the film. But again, it feels like Spielberg's kind of tapping him on the shoulder. Yeah. Don't go there, do this, be safe on here, go that far there, go there. It's a beautiful thing. I'd ask anyone to watch it, but I find it really hard to defend because it does have its flaws, but it's still a 9 out of 10 for me.
9. Yeah, very nice. A great score. Well, I think this film does get better with every viewing for me. And what struck me most this time around was how restrained it is. I think in less capable hands, it could have been just a flashy gangster film. It could have maintained its pulpy roots. But Mendes shows incredible discipline in letting the emotion breathe between the violence. Yeah. Hanks gives a great performance. He subverts his screen persona. It doesn't feel forced, but it doesn't feel 100% believable.
Yeah, I get that, yeah.
But Paul Newman, I mean, bloody hell. Yeah. What a way to bow out. Every scene he's in crackles with decades of accumulated screen presence. Visually, I mean, Connie Hall moving through a series of Hopper paintings, giving depth in more ways than one to the visuals. Yeah. But, I mean, just artwork. And I really do like the writing. I've had a couple of criticisms, but it is very stylized. I don't think it's possible to absolutely shake its comic book roots. And that's a personal choice, just because I'm sure that appeals to a lot of people. It doesn't necessarily appeal to me. Yeah, of course. And because it's got that veneer of sheen, that prevents me from becoming that emotionally attached to the story. It should be heartbreaking and I'm an easy mark, but it's never been that emotionally affecting for me. Right. Yeah. A stunning film nonetheless. Great to look at. Great work overall. It's an 8.5 out of 10 from me. Right. Okay. So a little bit of consistency there with 3 scores. Yeah. The final score for Road to Perdition comes from our incredible Patreon supporters who've been rating the film whilst contributing to our amazing community. Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you so much, guys.
Before I reveal the score, let me pick out some wonderful comments. Jamie Beckett said, a beautifully rendered film with lovely cinematography and framing. Always felt a bit emotionally shallow. That said, it seems to get better with repeated viewings. Some superb performances as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Well said, Jamie. Lou Noon said, Tom Hanks with an unbelievable performance and really shows his acting chops throughout. Newman was incredible and Jude Law's performance is one that stays with you.
Yeah.
What an underappreciated movie and a tremendous piece of cinema. As Billy Bob once said so eloquently in Varsity Blues, 10. I give it a 10.
Wow.
Little deep cut.
Blimey.
Varsity Blues deep cut.
Yeah.
Love it.
I didn't know where he was going with that.
No, I didn't.
And finally, from Ian Joyner, Ian said, staggeringly beautiful at times, but there are better written takes on the Prohibition era. Jude Law's character jars at times with the otherwise serious and somber tone, and as fantastic as Hanks is, we never see or understand exactly why he's such a field enforcer that can't be just taken out with the strength of force available to the likes of Capone and Nitty.
Yeah.
8.
Right. Okay.
So a mixed bag, a lot of positives there.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining in, everyone.
Yeah.
Yes,
What do you
thanks,
think
guys.
Road to Perdition averaged from our patrons, fellas?
I'm going to say probably 8.5.
Yeah, I'll go 8.5.
8.5. Oh, just missed out. 9 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
Right,
Fair
nice.
enough.
I'm happy with that,
Yeah.
to be
Yeah,
honest.
of course.
Yeah.
So that means that Road to Perdition's overall ATRM score is 35 out of 40. Not quite reaching the summit, but mixing it with some elite company for certain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Join us again on All the Right Movies in 2 weeks. John, Westy and Matt will be jumping centuries to the 1700s as they tackle the epic sweep of Michael Mann's Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah.
A big fan favourite, fellas. Excited?
Yeah, it's a great film.
It sweeps along and then some.
does
Oh,
indeed.
can't wait for that.
Yeah.
This month on Double Feature, we're talking about the Gone Too Soon River Phoenix in Stand By Me and Sneakers. 2 great films, 1 great podcast, and you can listen to that by signing up to support us on Patreon, as mentioned at the top of the show.
Indeed.
Yep.
You can also listen to one of our other great podcasts, The Watch List, while you're at it, so no reason not to support. If you could, we would very much appreciate it. Patreon.com/All the Right Movies.
Yes, please.
Definitely would. Thank you so much, guys.
That's where you'll find our entire podcast archive, everything we've ever created, which is a hell of a lot.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
And if you enjoy what we do, please take 30 seconds out of your time to give us a positive rating on whatever podcast platform that you listen to us on. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser. Doesn't matter where, just a quick tap. Everyone's happy.
Yes, it really, really helps us, guys, if you can just take
It does,
30
yeah, it
seconds to
really
do
does.
that. So thank you so much.
In between all of our podcasts, we are active on social media every day. On X, we're at AT Right Movies, where our making of movie threads are absolute gold. Just like our podcast, they tell the behind-the-scenes story from classic and hit films, and just like our podcasts, all the stories we tell come from cast and crew or are verified by at least 3 sources. So that's incredible movie-making insight. Give them a read if you don't already.
Yes.
Yes, fantastic stuff.
Our threads are also on Threads and Blue Sky. You can also find us on Instagram, TikTok. We have a Facebook group. We're on YouTube as well. And our website is alltherightmovies.com. So
It is.
there's no escaping us.
There's not.
Absolutely not.
And that is a wrap, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the Road to Perdition. We're glad it's you.
Thanks very much for listening, guys. Take care out there.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Come back in 2 weeks for the Last of the Mohicans.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.